was a lockdown. They opened the fire. Them bullets was flying. Who said it was a lockdown? Goddamn lie. Oh my, time heals all, but you out of time now. Judge gotta watch us from the clock tower. Little tear gas cleared the whole place out. I'll be back with the hazmat for the next round. We was trying to protest and the fires broke out. Look up for the secret agents, they be planning in the crowd. Said it's sipping unrest, but you sleep so sound like you don't hear the screams when we catch a beat down. Stand quiet when they killing niggas, but you speak loud when we ride. Got opinions coming from a place of privilege, sicker than the COVID. How they did them on the ground. Speaking of the COVID, it's still going around. Won't you tell me about the looting? What's that really all about? Cause they throw away black lives like paper towels.
What up? We got one more song in the set. Hope you guys get the vibe right where you at. You know what I mean?
Never see a child. We just want to break chains like slaves in the South.
Got the kids situated. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Make sure it's all good, y'all. We coming live from Memphis, Tennessee. The virtual brewer. Stay tuned.
You should have been downtown. The people are rising. We thought it was a lockdown. They opened the fire. Them bullets was flying. Who said it was a lockdown? Goddamn lies. Downtown, where we got with the rubber bullet train down. Got it in my name now. I'm a shooter. Never understand why they do it. Channel up the news for I lose it. I ain't even tripping if you with it, then we lose it. Help me put this Louis in the back of Suzuki. Okay, had to break it down so smoothly. It's not about race, but we moving. Oh, how? Cut the trade pound. Had to put them in my name. Wish a nigga play now. Any given day, I'll be here to the pool. Bitch, say a little prayer. Matter of fact, I need two of them. Ooh, only do it. Only do it. Ooh, this ain't 92, so we in the new rules. Niggas got hips, so we don't lose the projects. About to hit Rodale with my little cousin Marcus. Someone threw a whole brick in the Neiman Marcus. Help me put the whole mannequin in the charger. You should have been downtown. The people are rising. We thought it was a lockdown. They opened the fire. Them bullets was flying. Who said it was a lockdown? Goddamn lie. Cause they tell us to downtown. With the rubber bullet train down. I'm a shooter. Gotta stop. Cause they tell us to downtown.
What up? Thank everybody for joining today in the place. I got the live chat on my phone. I got my peoples over here in the stream with us. We got everybody's busy in the place. We got Carrie and John Pendleton in the place to be. Let's go. So this is a really special experience. And this is something we're really excited about. We've been planning it for a minute. So we're excited to be able to get this to you guys. Looks like we got a little bit of feedback on the microphone. Check 1 2. So look, we're really excited to be with you guys today. I want to introduce my friends Carrie and John Pendleton. To you guys. So, you guys, are your mics on? Can you hear yourself?
Yeah, we're on. I think you hear us.
It's some crazy feedback though.
Yeah, man, it's like some robot stuff. Bananas. We're gonna try to get that. But in the meantime, you guys can introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about who you are, and introduce people to what you do, because folks don't exactly know you. You know what I mean? And folks might not know me. So I'll start off. My name is Bartholomew Jones. I'm an MC, educator, and a coffee nerd. I'm the owner of Cxffeeblack. We're a black-owned coffee brand down here in Memphis, Tennessee. We have two of my favorite friends, two of my favorite coffee people with us, Carrie and John Pendleton, and everybody's busy. So, Carrie, would you introduce yourself to everybody? And John, you can do the same thing.
For sure, for sure. So my name is Carrie Pendleton, and I am coffee director for an organization called Entrepreneurship here in Chicago. And we have two coffee shops that I oversee, one in the South Loop called Overflow Coffee, and then one in Rogers Park called the Common Cup, which is what you see on the flyers and stuff like that we're representing here today. And John is the manager of, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, my name is John Pendleton. I am the manager of the Common Club. I am relatively new to the coffee game. Carrie's been in for over a decade, and I have just been adjacent because of her for the last 8 years. But this last year and a half, I jumped in and worked for another coffee company in Chicago, and then started managing there. And then when the company that owns our shop, Entrepreneurship, bought this shop, I came on as manager there.
Yeah. That's so dope. So I actually have like a crazy story connection with you guys. So I had a friend here local was like, hey, I got some friends in Chicago. They're black. They're in coffee. I really want to be able to get a hoodie from you to them. And she ended up sending the hoodie to you guys, which was a crazy connection. And also, you all said your organization comes through Entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
which is bananas. So when I was in college, I went to Wheaton College right outside of Chicago, and that was kind of my first real introduction to at least driving through Chicago, being in the Chicago suburbs. And it was bananas because I was like, yo, like Entrepreneurship was an organization that a lot of the people of color at our college partner with to be able to bring kids of color from the city over to the college and have them experience that college situation. So it's crazy to see how like just Memphis and Chicago have such a crazy relationship, like the things that we have in common are bananas.
Yeah.
Bananas. I also want to introduce my friend Melissa. I got a chance to check out her shop when I was in Chicago. I go to Chicago every year, so we were at a show in Chicago in last summer, which is just crazy to think about still doing shows. Like I miss physically going places and rapping in front of people, but we were there. I had heard about Everybody's Busy online, and so I was able to connect with this wonderful young lady and go to her shop. And y'all, the vibe was just. It was immaculate. When we got over there, it was in the South Side. It was crazy dope. So, Melissa, go ahead and introduce yourself. Perfect. Everything good with you, Melissa? Can you hear us?
Lots of feedback. Lots of
Okay.
feedback.
We don't have any feedback on our end. Check 1, 2. You got headphones in? Is that better?
Yeah, headphones.
Okay, we can hear you now. So yeah, go ahead and tell everybody.
Okay.
Look, the internet is crazy. This is what coffee community looks like right now. So if you're like used to going to coffee shops and being able to see people and talk to people over your favorite cup of Java, like that's not in 2020. Like we're really virtually building a coffee community. And Melissa, you've been doing that for a long time, just building culture digitally. Like tell us how you got into coffee and what the whole vibe of your shop is.
I kind of fell into it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly. Crispy.
Okay. Kind of fell into it. And I was living in New York. I'm from Chicago. And coffee was a really big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't find at the time, this was like 2014, 15.
Yeah.
I couldn't find a good bean that I enjoyed. The shops were cool, but I couldn't find a good bean I enjoyed. So there was a shop that I went to called Anchor Coffee, and they were offering parlor coffee.
Oh, your parlor is dope.
In Bed-Stuy. And I was walking one day, and I just kind of came up with this idea: what if I made coffee and played great music, and was just myself, and other people liked it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if they
People
didn't like it, that was okay too.
Right, right. You got that energy, like remind me of like all my aunties. Like it's like, hey, you better not come in here and play around with me. But if you come in here and respect my space, like I got something really beautiful for you to enjoy. And like that's what we got. Like you hold down the espresso bar with like serious energy. You know what I mean? Nobody coming in there and disrespecting you, but like you really bring a welcoming space to that. So we'll get into a little bit more about the details of how you guys got into coffee, because I want to sit down and talk with you guys first. But I don't know about you guys. I'm ready for some coffee. You know what I mean? I'm ready for some coffee. And I actually have one of my homies, right? Somebody said you better praise him. I got one of my homies, one of the young mentees, Omarion. You may have seen him on Instagram. You know what I mean? He's one of the young guys in our neighborhood, amazing dude. He's going to be up. Yeah, come on, just a little bit further, bro. Come on over. There you go. He's going to be making coffee with me today. And so basically what I want to do is this is called a brew up. Okay. And the way that a brew up works is like a coffee cipher. So if you ever been in a part of hip hop culture, a cipher is essentially where people exchange ideas in a circle artistically. It also happens with like b-boying and dancing. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing the same thing with coffee. We're each going to be able to make coffee. Of course, this is, you have a choice, but we're going to be making coffee together, talking about coffee, what we enjoy about it. And I'll kick it off. I'll kick the cipher off because I guess I'm the rapper over here. So we're going to be starting off today with one of my favorite coffees, which is Gucci Mane coffee. You know what I mean? This is our flagship coffee. And we love it. It's a natural coffee. It's a wash coffee, which we can get into what that means. But it's a coffee from the Sidamo Guji region of Ethiopia, specifically like that Benti Nanka area. And we're going to make some coffee today. So one of the first things we do, if you're at home brewing with us, grab your favorite coffee. And one of the first things I encourage everybody to do when we're at a cipher is just smell the coffee. Okay, so everybody grab your coffee. Grab whatever you're going to be brewing. Okay. You got it? All right, we're going to sniff it. Take a sniff. What you smelling, Marjorie? Some, maybe like green, some sour, some. So I do kind of smell. This is random. So the thing I love about Omarion is he has no fear when it comes to coffee. So he will literally tell you what he thinks. And now I smell green apple. So I don't know if I'm just like folded into peer pressure. The notes we have are blackberry and sparkling grape and lavender, but now I kind of smell green apples too. John and Kari, what you guys got going on over there?
Yeah, so we'll get into this a little bit later, but I've actually been learning a little bit about roasting. So we're brewing up some coffee that actually roasted myself.
Dope. I can't hear you. Can you say that one more time?
Oh, yeah, I said, so we're getting into roasting. Can you hear me okay now?
Oh, y'all are getting into roasting?
Yeah.
That's so dope. Let's go. So what are y'all roasting?
Yeah, so I partner with a wholesaler right now. So I go and I've been working with them one week. And so right now we're at 2 hours and it's probably grinding up that we're going to
The single origin Ethiopian. I love it. The single origin Ethiopian. Now listen, this is why we told y'all gotta have the kids situated because these grinders gonna be loud, so it might wake them up. You know what I mean? So the next thing we do is I kind of tell everybody, yo, smell the coffee. Next step is to grind it. We're gonna be using an AeroPress over here. Carrie and John, what are you guys using?
We have our 10 minutes.
Lit. Okay, so the next step after you have your coffee, I've already pre-weighed this out. It's 25 grams. So we're gonna grind ours too. If you're following at home, you have pre-ground coffee. It sounds good. But we're gonna be grinding this up. And I'm grinding this pretty fine. So this is pretty fine compared to what you would do on a traditional drip. That's because I'm using the AeroPress and I'm using my friend Samaya's recipe. So Samaya is coffee roaster, Q grader in Rwanda, and she made an award-winning, literally worldwide winning AeroPress recipe. And so I'm going to be like modifying her recipe a little bit with a little bit of coffee black swag. So I got 25 grams of coffee. It's ground fairly fine, like medium fine. So coarser than you would do for a V60 or for drip. Oh, Marion with the turnoff, slick with it. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, Omarion, this is your coffee. All right, so watch me first, and then you'll get a chance to do it. So the way we do it is that we have one person who feels pretty confident making it. So I'm going to make this. Carrie and John are going to go through the Chemex. And Melissa, you vibing? You good? Everything situated? She vibed out. Look, okay, so we're going to make our coffee, and then we'll allow you guys at home to work through it as Omarion makes his coffee, and we can talk about what we taste in between. So I got my coffee. I've ground it, right? Man, I wish I could smell this. I wish.
Oh yeah, the smells over here are crazy.
Yo, what are you guys smelling?
So what's wild is that when you grind the coffee, it actually smells like buttered popcorn.
It smells like what?
Like buttered movie theater popcorn.
Oh my, yo, so y'all gonna send us some, right? Like, you guys slide that through. Well, don't slide it through USPS. We got love for them, but
Right.
put it through UPS or something.
It's crazy, but then as it brews, it's just incredibly clean and crisp and fruity and just so citrusy. It's awesome.
Yeesh. Yeesh. Okay. So can I ask you a question? We're about to brew, and I want to kind of walk through each of the processes. So, Carrie, you can go first on walking people through how you guys brew your recipe. We'll talk about why you have a Chemex, and then I'll go through the AeroPress, and then Omarion, it's a lot of pressure on you, bro. Make sure you're paying attention, because I did bring my Chemex, you know, so pay attention to the recipe. You know what I mean?
All right. So what I do is everything was already warmed up, you know, all that kind of stuff. That's wet. John, he brings the coffee. It's like pretty coarse, like sea salt. Look, I do mine a little bit more coarse than that, almost like we need to the French stuff.
Yeah.
I want it to be able to be completely finished by 4 minutes. And I went in 42 grams of coffee. And then our bloom is going to be to 150 grams. So I'm going to go ahead and tear out my scale and then do the bloom to 150. Let that get situated for about 15 seconds or so until it's like reading 45, and then start my second pour.
Okay.
So right now, I just tear the scale, and I'm going to just start the bloom. So we're starting close to the center of the coffee, a nice circular motion.
Yeesh.
Again, getting to 150. I got my stag kettle, just like you.
Come on. Stag gang.
Yep. And then when I get to 150, I'm going to go ahead and stir the bloom. And my water's at 205.
So I got a couple questions. One, for you guys, what temperature do you prefer on the Chemex with your water?
Yep. So I always do it at 205.
Okay.
That's where I found it's been the most consistent. As far as flavor for me, but I know some people who will go a little bit higher than that and lower than that. I've seen it both ways. I've seen some at 200. So
James Hoffman has been blowing my mind. He's like a coffee British dude. He actually got decent beats, so I kind of want to hear if he can spit. You know what I mean? Because his beat selection on the videos is clutch. But yeah, he talks about boiling water as the best way to extract coffee. And we did a video about that a while ago, and folks was heated. All the coffee nerds, myself included, we was like, "Oh my gosh, this is incorrect." Like,
right.
But I feel you. And then I have another question too. So your bloom, which if you all don't know, the purpose of a bloom is to essentially release gases in the coffee. When you roast coffee, it infuses a lot of carbon dioxide into the coffee, and so those bubbles can disrupt the brew. And at all of our brew ups locally, I kind of tell people the cardinal rule for coffee is all the water with all the coffee for all the time. Okay, so if there are bubbles popping, what's going to happen is some of that coffee is going to be out of contact with the water. If there's bubbles popping in the slurry or in the coffee bed, so you do the bloom to help all that gas release. Pour in a little bit of water. Now you all did a 150 gram bloom, correct?
Yes.
That's a big bloom. Like for you all, like have you found any benefits? Because people argue back and forth. Like some people say the bloom should only be twice as much, regardless. Some people say there's a standard amount depending on the size of the brewer. Some people agitate the bloom. Some people don't. Some people say do the exact same amount as the coffee. For you guys, what's kind of that sweet spot with the bloom?
So it's interesting because as I have to play around with it depending on what the coffee is. And so for this particular Ethiopian, it's been working to do the bloom at 150, which is a little bit bigger. But because the windows of time are a little bit shorter for me, it's been working. So we do 3 pours. I'm finished now. Actually, so I get I know it's crazy. It goes so quick, but I've been a fan of the larger bloom for this particular coffee. So what I've done some, and a friend of mine have done some different recipes.
Wow.
Where you do the double the weight of the coffee, so if I put 30 grams in, just double that, and that's a bloom. And
Yeah.
that works too. I think it's just your preference. I don't get into it.
Yeah.
Like all that sometimes.
No, but I think you brought up such a great point that at the end of the day, it's about what you taste. It's
Right.
about what you enjoy. And there's not a lot of there's a lot of information. There's a lot of ways to be curious. And I think curiosity is an important factor when you're enjoying anything. That's dope. But I think when it becomes these rules that you have to follow, and if you're not doing it, you're not doing it right, then it turns into a situation where people don't want to be a part of that. You know,
Right.
and so I think I love what you say. I do it because it tastes good.
Yeah.
Right.
That's super dope. So it smelled kind of popcorny. You brewed it up
Yeah.
now. Can you tell us why you're using the Chemex brewer? Why do you like that particular brewer so much?
Yeah, so what's funny is, to me, I was drawn to the Chemex for convenience, honestly. Because when I'm doing coffee simply for myself, I'm on the AeroPress, which is what you guys.
Right. You know,
But-
gang, AeroPress gang, squad, you know.
I love the AeroPress. So, but for me, honestly, the Chemex could just build more. And so that's been working because I'm growing enough for jobs by myself. So I want it to be,
Yeah.
something we both can enjoy. And I do think it's a nice, crisp,
It's so
traditional-
clean.
Yes, exactly.
It's so clean. And I think it works really well with Ethiopia. Okay. Look at that.
You see that? I mean,
Yeah, that's that melanin. That's that melanin right there in that cup.
just glorious.
Look,
So
that mahogany.
it's exactly 4 minutes. And the end weight out, we got 700 grams. So that's going to be enough. And then I had a 2 cup warming up. So I'm going to dump out the hot water. So those are nice and hot. But yeah, I'm drawn to the Chemex because it's such a clean, crisp finish. And it yields enough coffee for the both of us to sip and enjoy together.
Wow, that is lit. Look at that. Look, that's honestly my favorite part of the Chemex is just the pour be extra glorious.
Right?
Like it must be looking like it came out of Africa with the Lion King pour. It's bananas. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We've been doing this thing on the internet called First Sip, and some people in coffee culture have been doing it. So pretty much your first cup in the morning, you post it, you tag a bunch of people. I think I've tagged all of y'all at least once. Is that right? Have I tagged you guys once? Okay, dope.
Yeah.
So first sip, cool. So with your first sip, I got my cup right here. We're going to do this before we drink. Each time, you just going to toast to the most. You know what I mean? I'm going to go to the camera. Give me a second.
There we go. Oh, this is so good.
Okay? That's how we drink it. So if you drink it with us at home, you know what I mean? When we do the toast, just hit that jump one time with us, man, so we know you vibing with us. All right, so look, you all just made that. That looks delicious. And I think that recipe would actually fit really well for our traditional Gucci man. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take what you did. Since it's a cipher, right? We're gonna flip it.
Okay.
So boom. Okay, so I peeped your rhyme. I'm gonna set this joint down. I got my Chemex already preheated it, but dump this water out. And by the way, this is not the floor. There's we got a little bucket down there, you know what I mean, just to be ready. But I dumped that water out, and now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, boop, and we're going to place it here. And I'm going to use your ratios, which you guys did 3 times as much water, right? Boom. I think basically 3 times. You went 40 grams to 150. So we're going to do basically
42 grams, yeah.
Yeah. So we got 25 grams here. This coffee is ground pretty fine. So I'm going to try to speed up the brew. Got my water. My water is set at 185. I'm going to increase that a little bit to 204. And I'm curious, the thing about Chemexes a lot of times is Chemexes have these really thick filters. And so it makes it difficult, not difficult, but it strains more of the coffee. So it doesn't all the time extract as quickly, which is why people tend to do a larger grind. What I'm going to attempt to do is do an AeroPress with this grind. Do a Chemex with this grind, but I'm just going to do a continuous pour one way all the way through and try to be done with my pour by 1 minute and 12 seconds. We'll try it.
No.
Let's see how it
Okay.
goes. So I got my timer. This could taste trash. It could taste delicious. But what I love about ciphering with people over coffee is just the curiosity, and I want to know how does finely ground coffee taste in a Chemex. So we're gonna try.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, boom. So, but I'm gonna make Omarion do the pour.
I tried to do a continuous pour with the
we doing 75 because we got 25 grams in, and we doing 25 times 3.
25 times 75.
75 quick mouth. Okay, grab the kettle. Boom. I got the spoon. Go ahead and pour it. So if you're wondering how we're measuring, it's because do it quick, bro. Do it quick, do it fast. Because I want to try to get this out before it over extracts. If I'm doing this right, it's going to be really full bodied. If I'm doing this wrong, it's going to taste like battery acid. So let's see. Now what I'm doing is called agitating the bloom. And this is for two purposes. One, because we're about to do a lot of coffee really quick. I don't want it to get clogged. And two, it makes sure all the water gets with all the coffee for all the time. There you go. Run it all the way up. We're going all the way to 400.
So all the way 400.
Auto just straight and go fast. We're going to try to get there by 1 minute and 12 seconds. Yeah.
So I'm going to answer this question real quick. Someone in the comments is saying, Carrie, what's your ending amount of 43 grams? I finished at 700 grams.
Look at that center pour.
Hopefully that person caught that answer.
Boom. And so the way to figure that out is what people in coffee use is called ratios. And so you'll do a 1 to 16 or a 1 to 15 or 1 to 14. That means for every 1 gram of coffee, you're going to add a certain amount of water. So we have 25 grams of coffee. We're doing 1 to 16. So that should get us 400 grams of water. So it's easy if you have that little variable there. I think you guys did 1 to 16 too. Is that right?
Yeah, we did. Yep.
Yeah. And that's kind of like the golden standard. Coffee nerds will talk about that golden standard. They'll say, yo, look, 1 to 16, it kind of gives you a classic taste, a great way to taste it. Some coffees, like the coffee we're going to brew next on, the coffee we're going to brew next on AeroPress, tastes better at a more concentrated or a smaller ratio, like 1 to 14, 1 to 8, 1 to 10. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Boom. So the coffee's drawing. Now we just are going to wait. While this is brewing, I'm going to get started on the other coffee that I'm excited about. And you all who are brewing with us at home should have access to this coffee. Omarion, can you pour some more water in there? This coffee right here is an exclusive. This is a Cxffeeblack exclusive. Now, you all have it in a bag that looks like this. But this coffee is a Walichu Wachu natural. So it's still from the Gucci region because it's Gucci man, Gucci gang all day. But what we got to understand is that coffee in Ethiopia is almost as plenty as that boy done pour more water. Why pour more water?
Why they put more water in there?
No, pour more water in the stag.
Oh.
So now this coffee is going to be diluted or bypassed with a little bit of extra water. But this is a Walichu Wachu, which is a region in the Gucci zone of Ethiopia. So I know in the United States we have regions like Northwest, the South, the East, the West, and then we have states like, Tennessee. We don't really consider Tennessee and Memphis. We don't claim them. We just say Memphis, and then we don't mess with the rest of Tennessee. I feel like it's the same thing in Chicago, though. Like Chicago and Illinois, it's not really the same thing. You know what I mean? It's not really the same thing. But So yeah, this is from the Walichu Wachu area or region of the Gucci zone. So the Gucci zone is like a large area in the Oromia part of Ethiopia, and Oromia is the part of Ethiopia that has traditionally belonged to the Oromo people, who are the people who discovered coffee. And so that ethnic group, traditionally, a lot of the coffees you'll drink from Ethiopia come from Oromia because they discovered it. Hence, most of the coffee is going to be where they traditionally lived in that part of the world. But this coffee is particularly from the Walichu Wachu area of the Gucci zone. And so it is really different. And we're going to brew it here in just a minute. I'm excited about it because like our traditional Gucci man has like these berry notes. It has lavender. It has sparkling grape to me. It's really good, chocolatey, smooth, great body. But this coffee, that John is like spices. Like as soon as we drink it, like it's spices in my mouth. And then it's weird, which is weird because I expect kind of acidity up front. Then I get brown sugar. And then I get Arizona peach tea. Which like it's just not what I expect with like an Ethiopian coffee. I'm looking for,
Right.
floral coffees, blueberry, maybe a
Yes.
little bit of milk. So it's strange. But I enjoy strange things, and what I like about coffee is the nerdiness, the curiosity. So we're gonna
Right.
brew that up right now. Here you go, HD.
And to the point that you mentioned your flavor notes, so I mentioned the butter popcorn, but
Yeah.
as it brews and you finish it, you're really tasting strong grapefruit notes.
Wow.
For the
So
citrus, which is
that's normally you get those grapefruit notes with like a SL28 from Kenya, correct?
right, right. And when I said for the Ethiopian, I was thinking the same notes you just said. Automatically you think blueberry, automatically you think kind of, milky maybe,
Yeah.
floral for sure. So when we tried this coffee and I got to roast it myself, like I mentioned, and literally grabbed the coffee straight from off the roaster. Cool. I mean, it's cool. We took it from right off the bin after it's finished roasting, brought it home, let it sit for a couple of days, and
Yeah.
let it, grind it as it finished roasting. And when I started tasting citrus, that just blew my mind.
No,
Because,
that's crazy because like
yeah,
I wouldn't expect that either from an Ethiopian. I'm gonna pour this a little early since we got extra water in it. Dump. Boom. Okay, so I got my 25 grams of this Walichu Wachu in here. Meow, meow, meow. We're at an 8 on the Encore, which is like a pretty fine grind. And before I grind that though, since this is ready at this point, we can go ahead and brew up real quick with everybody. Boom. There you go, Marianne. Boom. Matt, you want a cup? Matt is running sound and visual and everything, so I'm gonna pour up for him. There you go, bro. Ooh, look at that pour.
good.
Oh, come on. Okay, boom. You gotta toast them.
Oh, I love it. Oh yeah. Cheers.
Boom.
Okay,
Now
someone
this is
in
the
comments
really
said-
finely ground Ethiopian or Gucci mane that I'm breaking all the rules right now, and I kind of am excited about it.
This is the one we did yesterday.
No. This is the really finely ground one, traditional Gucci mane that Omarion added extra water to. What do you taste, my G? Somebody hit that. No. Whew. Okay, so because Omarion added extra water to it, I feel like I taste more of like a walnutty note than some of the more concentrated citrus, and that's because it's just been diluted a lot. Yeah, I do kind of get a little nuttiness. That's a lot of water in there. Boom, boom. Boom. Okay, so that's that coffee. Toast to everybody. This is technically cup number 2 for the brew up. Bro, you over here with the, so look, we created this thing called a hood slurp. Everybody say hood slurp. Okay, a hood slurp is something we created with our Friday cuppings. Omarion's been coming to the cuppings. My guy Daniel has been in the background. He's over there just chilling on the couch. A couple other people have come. We do them on IG Live. And when you are sipping from a cupping spoon, traditionally you're supposed to slurp because it spreads the coffee all over your tongue, over your palate. What we kind of originated was like, well, if we in the hood and we doing this, we not just finna do, the delicate, situation. So we gonna have to, put a little swag on it. So we call it the hood slurp. You know what I mean? Yeah, do that. So if you're with us at home, you sipping, you can do a little, put the pinky out,
There we go. Pinkies out.
You know what I mean? Just make it a real strong slurp, so you put a little masculinity in that joint. Okay.
I'm over here slurping in my ear.
So look, I want to show you guys something. I'm gonna go close to the camera. Right now, we're doing 2 different kinds of coffee. So if you look, this coffee right here is our natural coffee. As you can see, it's pretty much dark all the way through. As far as the color is concerned, it's not super uniform, like it's a little bumpy. If you can see what I mean. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's the natural coffee. Natural coffee is dried out in the sun. It's the traditional way of drying coffee. Coffee is a fruit. What we drink is the seed of the fruit. So when they separate the cherry, and I know you all know this. This is really for the audience watching at home. When they separate the cherry from the seed, or the fruit from the seed, they take the seed from outside of the cherry. There's still some flesh or fruit left on it. So they have to get that
Right.
off in order for us to brew it, so it doesn't spoil and get moldy. And so that's
Hey,
what.
Bart, there's some people saying they can't hear you.
Okay.
The microphone.
Boom. Duh.
Sorry, yes, some comments coming through saying they can't hear.
No, you're right. I had to squeeze the clip one time. Check it. Here we go. I'm back. So what I was saying was that seed I just showed you was a natural coffee seed, naturally processed. Coffee is a fruit. So what that means is when they separate the cherry from the seed inside the fruit, they have to find some way to get the little pieces of fruit that are still stuck on there. And so the way that they process that is either by submerging it in water, which is called washed, or by leaving it out in the sun. The little pieces of fruit dry up and they can shake it off of the seed, and that's called natural because you're just naturally drying it. You know, natural like my hair, you know what I mean? Like, you know, just naturally. Okay, so that was a natural seed. I'm gonna show it to you one more time. Whoop. This is a natural seed here, natural coffee seed. This right here is a washed seed. So I don't know if you all can tell the difference. See if I can get it out of into the light a little bit more. Yep. All right, it just fell. So that seed, one more time, is a washed seed, the seed that I just showed you. And the primary difference here is that it's a little lighter in color, so it didn't take heat as quickly. And also, you can see there's a really clean, light brown line straight down the middle. All of the seeds in this bag look like this. The reason for that is when you're submerging something in water, it's a much more consistent way to process the coffee, right? Everything's getting the same amount of water, same amount of pressure. You're stripping it of that little mucilage. But when you have a natural processed coffee, you're leaving it out in the sun, and the amount of radiation that coffee may receive or that seed may see varies. Temperature may vary. The wind may affect it. There's a lot of more variables because it's just out in the open. So just a little piece there. The seeds will look a little bit different. A lot of times you can tell if a coffee is natural or washed just by the way that the seeds look. And a lot of coffee professionals actually like washed Ethiopians more than naturals because that wash process makes the coffee seed, when you roast it and prepare it, way more consistent. But what I like about naturals is, they're a little wild, like me. You know what I mean? And so that's one of the things to enjoy. A little quick coffee fact there for all my nerds. Boom. So we got the coffee over here. I'm about to grind it. Yeah.
Now this is AeroPress you're doing?
Now we're about to use the AeroPress. That's correct.
Okay.
And I'm going to get
AeroPress
20.
is our deal.
Yeah, AeroPress is one of my favorite ways. This is called an AeroPress. Obviously, because the way you make the coffee is by pressing it. But you're pressing it using air. Instead of with a French press, there's a large metal filter that you're using to press. While that coffee is grinding, I'm going to rinse out my filter. I have a small paper filter that goes in there. So I'm going to rinse it out. Pay close attention, Omar, because you're going to have to do this next. All right, here we go. Boom. So rinsing that out. Yeah. Let it drip in there. Take this. Let it drip in the bucket. Now, this is a really fine grind. What I have 25 grams of coffee. This little funnel comes with it. What I like about the AeroPress is that everything comes with it. Everything you need to make coffee. So even though I have a scale right now, if you notice, on the side, there are these little numbers. And I recommend AeroPress whenever we do brew ups and when I work with people in the community, because you don't have to go drop $300 to make some dope coffee. You can just use these little lines. What I tell people is grind enough coffee to fit halfway from the 1 to the 2. Then get your water. My water is set right at about 185 degrees. Boom. I'm going to tear out my scale. But even if you don't have a scale at home, I'm just going to pour enough to get it covered. Right? Pour just enough to get it covered. And then I'm going to agitate it. And with the AeroPress comes this cool little paddle, so you don't even have to have a spoon. The AeroPress comes with this look like something my mama would have gave me a spanking with back in the day. Like it's perfectly, you know what I mean, little hand thump. But I'm just gonna mix that up, right? I'm just gonna mix that up. Look at that angle. Look at that angle. Matt Majors, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Okay, so
I need your crew.
come on, y'all. It's the squad. This is where we do a lot of music over here, and we always do coffee before, so you got to have it situated. All right, boom. So I'm going to let that go for 30 seconds. We pretty much already hit 30 seconds because I'm running my mouth talking to y'all. And I'm just going to fill it up all the way to the top. Now, actually, I'm going to 200, but y'all don't, if you ain't got a scale, don't worry about that at home. Just go all the way up to 200. If you want one of these, we sell them on our website. And I can get you a discount. Omarion actually has a discount code that he gets a percentage off of. He gets a little bit of money off that. You know, he gets commission for sales using his discount code. So young entrepreneur over here, use the discount code Omarion to get 10% off. Boom. And then what I do is I press it down. Can you zoom in here, Matt? So that these little bubbles appear on the top. The purpose for that is there's a little bit of air left between the coffee and the top of the cap, and I want to get all the air out of there. And then right at 1 minute and 30 seconds, which is literally right now, I flip it. This is called the inverted method. I put it there, and then you just push it. You know what I mean? Like salt and pepper. You just push it. Push it real good. That's hilarious, yo. My DJ's like, yo, we got to get that sound queued up. All right, boom. Yeah, Pop Smoke. Okay, so you push it till you can't push no more. Now, don't push too hard. Hey, this is the remix right now. Don't push too hard because I have broken a carafe before at a brew up, you know, but it was when I was on the weights extra heavy. So, you know, like, you know, if you're not on the weights, you might not have to worry about that. But if you're in the gym, you know what I mean? Okay, here we go. So this is the coffee. Sorrow Lichu Wachu Natural. Now, what a lot of people in the coffee industry do is they do something called bypass. And the bypass is essentially a way to dilute the coffee so you get a traditional 1:16 extraction. But I'm from Memphis. I like my coffee like my wife, you know, a little thick. You know what I mean? Like it's the them Johnsons. I like my coffee stay a little stout, you know what I mean? So I don't bypass it. You know, if I was talking coffee nerd talk, I would say I enjoy the hold on, you gotta get the face, bro. I would say I enjoy the viscosity of the liquid. But you know, so you take the coffee. Now this is a concentrated brew, so I gotta, you know, do a little bit so all the homies can have some. Okay, boom, we got this. Boom, we got this. He already got you, bro. Is it you? Okay, boom. Boom. All right. Now, just like we do with the first cup in the morning, toast, boom. Toast to you guys, boop. Okay, enjoy it. Hit the hill slurp one time. I see you, Melissa. I see you, Carrie and John. You gotta make the eyes pop. Yo, it's crazy. It's crazy. So just like, well, I'm gonna let Matt come talk, bro. What you taste? What you taste, my G? What you taste?
It's like, it's got this. It's not as graham crackery as it was yesterday.
No, I think it's more water.
Today, it's like. There's like a toasted almond and like.
Ooh, I do get the almond. Yeah, that's weird. Like it's like an almondy finish.
On the back.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
on the vibe.
on our backside, yeah.
Okay, now because we don't have a lot, I'm gonna say let it cool. Coffee changes temperature as it cools. You know what I mean? So we're gonna let it cool. We got the fans on in here because it's hot. You see me, you know, it's hot. So we're gonna let this cool a little bit. And while it's cooling,
So Bart, you drink it just like that and there's no added water afterwards?
no bypass. Team no bypass. I'm starting that hashtag. Team no bypass.
Okay.
You can buy.
People who didn't hear that. Okay.
Now, how much does that make? That makes enough coffee for one person. So a conversation, actually I wanted to bring this earlier, so I'm glad y'all brought this up. Coffee traditionally, by the African peoples who discovered it, is a communal experience. It's something that happens at weddings, when people go to war, when there's a celebration, a graduation. It's like us having a cookout. You know, somebody gonna bring the mac and cheese, right? Look at a traditional African coffee experience. Whenever there is a celebration in the community and the family, somebody bringing the buna or the buna, right? Which is like the traditional name for the coffee. And so the Oromo people use coffee as a celebratory piece, and therefore they make a lot of coffee for people, right? And traditionally the woman of the house, so much respect for black women, they're doing like 5 different jobs. They're sourcing the coffee. They're roasting the coffee. Well, before they're sourcing the coffee, roasting the coffee, preparing it as a barista, and doing customer service. And they're doing that 3 times a day, like morning, noon, and night, plus special events for family and friends. And so that's something that like it's a communal experience. And what happens in the West is traditionally the West, as a byproduct of Enlightenment thought, is going to categorize things in a scientific method, right? And so they're going to try to put each thing in its own specific category, which is not necessarily bad, but it can be exclusive. And so what has happened to coffee has also been kind of chopped up into little pieces. The industry has been chopped up into little pieces. Traditionally, you have one job. If you're a barista, you just stay a barista. If you're a shop owner, you just stay a shop owner. If you're a roaster, you're just a roaster. But again, it's a communal experience. Same thing with how much coffee people prepare. The coffee traditionally is prepared for, so you have enough to feed everyone or to give everyone, and they'll do it 3 different times. So with those same seeds, they'll pour water over it 3 times, if I'm correct. If you're Ethiopian, Eritrean, from Djibouti, Somali, and you're in the comments, let me know. But my understanding is you're doing with those same beans, you're doing it 3 different times. You're pouring water in that jabina 3 times, and each one is a little bit weaker because people can stand a little bit less caffeine. I mean, 3 cups. People would have 3 cups, and that's like 3 cups 3 times a day is 9 cups. It's just a lot of coffee. Like I like coffee, but maybe you gotta be genetically engineered when your mama been sipping on it heavy like that to just
We ain't that strong.
Some right, black don't crack. So it don't. So it's cooled a little bit.
So did you talk about that? Talk about why you're letting it cool from that first sip to what the difference you're tasting now.
And so when something is hot, y'all, what it tastes like? It just tastes hot. It's just gonna taste hot. And so when you got so hot in here, you got 185 degrees or 212 degrees over the water. That's just hot, y'all. So by the time you brew it, even if your coffee is 190 degrees, that's still very hot. And so when you taste it, your taste buds are probably just gonna tell you, yo, this hot, right? You're not gonna get a lot of flavor off of it. But as it cools, you're able to detect a little bit more of the nuance and the flavor. Traditionally, you'll get more fruity notes. If you're drinking a light roasted coffee, you might get more chocolatey notes if you have a darker or a medium roasted coffee, but you're gonna get more rich flavors as it cools. Let me see.
Shout out to GP who just got in the comments.
Gang. So look, this is giving me what the craziest thing is that this coffee switches from primarily spices and sweetness, like brown sugar sweetness, to like a weird Arizona peach tea fruitiness, like a yellow fruit. My homie who's like a super, like I'm a coffee nerd, my homie with the mellow drip. If you know about the mellow drip, like that's like the John that you pour, it's like a little shower head you pour the water onto so that each of the coffee particles gets the same amount of water and there's no, anyway, it's a lot. Dude tasted it, he brewed it with the refractometer and all. He was like, I get butternut squash. I was like, can I say nigga in this? I don't know. I was like, my G, butternut squash. It was crazy. So then I went back and tasted it and I was like, I do get like we said sweet potato pie spices, but there's like a sweet, like yellowy, orangey, like we say peaches, but there's something in that yellow orange, I think in colors, like something in that bag is there. So it's weird. Man, that's good. Okay, cool. So Mario, it's your turn, but to answer you all's question, because I didn't get to it, the AeroPress brews 1 cup of coffee, and that's one of the downsides of Western coffee to me, is that a lot of the brewers only brew coffee for 1 person, maximum 2. What I like about the Chemex that you all had is that it brews enough coffee to actually serve to a community. And so if you're building a community space in a black neighborhood or any neighborhood for that matter, you want to have some type of like batch brew option. And this is not enough for like a whole store full of people or even your whole family. But I definitely at Thanksgiving, when I bring the coffee, because I'm trying to, reintroduce coffee into our black community and my family, I bring this. This is what I bring. And I run a quick like 700, 800 gram joint and like get at least 4 cups off. So, Omarion, it's your turn, my brother. My brother. My brother. Yeah, you're gonna use that right there. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna what? Get it, wet it up, bro. Splash on these boys. Yeesh. Boom. Okay, boom. I'll dump this for you. Next, you need to weigh your coffee. You know how much coffee you need? 25. Okay, boom. Nah. This the pre-med. Yeah, you gotta weigh your own giant situation, bro. I set that off on the side. You know, you gotta weigh your own stuff, bro. You a man. You gonna be, you know. Okay, got the scale. Matt, let's zoom in on my boy. Yeah, young barista. So the dope thing about him, Omarion actually just received his first barista box from Get You Some Gear. They sent my guy a V60. They sent him his own carafe. They sent him a lot. And so he's been at home sending me videos of him brewing for the squad, for his fans and family. So he's slick. Like when we brew up on Fridays, Omarion be having he be having the dopest V60. Like everybody brews up and we kind of rate each other's brews. His joint slaps. So, you know, I give him a lot of slack, but the dude be doing his thing. Look how finally he's picking the seeds out. Like, dude's so particular with it. He's smelling the big. Come on, bro. Look, one at a time.
Loving the details.
Boy, a scientist with it. Boom. Okay, next. I already got the grinder set for you. We on 8. Yeah. Boom. Let it go. Now, while you're doing this, what you want to do is you want to set your AeroPress up, and you want to flip it on the other side. Flip it right there, and then get this and put it on top. Straighten it up a little bit. So when this is ready, you can just pour it. So walk with me through it. One time. What you going to do next once this is done? Yep, to the Old Town Road. That's right. And tear. You're right. Take it, pour it, and tear. You got it. Boom. Look at the little bounce to settle the grounds. Oh my gosh. That boy cold. Okay. Boom. I got you, young king. I got you. You got it. Yeah, you gotta tear it again. That's right. Tear it again. Boom. Now what? Water. That's right. You gonna leave that big funnel in there? I say less. I ain't gonna tell you to take it out. Leave it in there. If you're gonna leave it in there, I don't leave it in there. What I love about coffee is that even the things you feel like you do accidentally could be dope. So, yeah, tear it again. That's right. Come on, boy.
I see you in the comments down. Thank you.
Like accidentally not wet your filter.
Right.
Be so excited that you don't wet the filter and make your filter taste like a piece of paper.
I think he set the grinder to 8. Bart.
Yep, I'm on 8. So Samaya's recipe, who I'm kind of remixing, we doing like a little Gucci Mane remix. Samaya in Rwanda, her recipe called for 28 grams of coffee, medium fine, and she did 80 gram bloom. And you can find her recipe at wise_Samaya on her account. She was the World AeroPress winner. So she's dope. I'm remixing it, and I'm keeping the same fine grind and small brew time, but I'm reducing the ratio to 25 grams all the way out to 200. And I am also not bypassing. So this is personal preference. And I just like how it tastes that way. Like I tried it a couple different ways, like, yo, this slaps. So I'm keeping it like this. I'll go all the way up, just go to the top. And
to your point, I'll let people. Oh, I'm sorry, Bart. Go ahead.
No, I was just telling Omarion, once you get there, make sure you agitate it, because in an AeroPress, if you don't agitate it, you can use that little flapper right there, my G, right here. If you don't agitate it, you can very quickly have just a little dry puck at the bottom, because it's this long funnel. You want to make sure all the water gets with all the coffee. Come on, say it with me, 4.
All the time.
All the time. Come on,
Yeah,
yo.
I like this caller response.
Yeah, come on. I'm a teacher. I'm an educator, and my daddy is a preacher. So I really don't,
Right.
What'd you forget?
That last part is
That's
key.
good. You put it on there. And once you get to 130, screw the cap on. That's not how it go, though. Boom. Put that there. Flip it. Flip it. No, flip this. There we go. And you're going to screw it on. Tight.
For those who asked about the recipe I brewed on Chemex, you can find that on the Comic Cup Instagram. We have a brewing guide that shows you how we do our Chemex. So if you want to brew that recipe.
Yes, please go follow the Common Cup on Instagram. Follow Everybody's Busy on Instagram. Hey, John, I ain't gonna cap. It took me a minute to find your Instagram. I was like, where can I find John Pendleton? But I found it because Carrie tagged you in a picture.
Yes. Planks and pistols, that's him.
Yes. So your Instagram is Bakes by Carrie, correct?
Yep, exactly.
Boom. And then John, what's your Instagram?
Planks and pistols.
See, I never would. I was typing John Pendleton in. I was like, I don't know.
It's on top of coffee because I'm a baker and John does floral design. Our Instagrams are really like our names are geared towards those ventures, but yeah,
Boom.
you can find us at those places.
You got it. Hey, he killed it. There's nothing else to press on that. He pushed it real good. All right, take it off. Boom. Let's see what you tasting like, boy. All right, boom. Let me see. We'll let you watch you natural. Don't give me a lot though, because everybody gonna try to sip on that mug. Boom, a little splash on them. Splash bros on them. All right, boom. Let it sit.
Looks good.
All right, here we go. Sip up, toast. You know what I mean? Boom.
So-
That's to you guys. That's to you guys right there.
All right.
Yes. Pinky's out. Here we go. Hood slurp. Yes. Yes.
Oh, someone said repeat those IG. Go ahead.
Woo.
Can you write it in the comments?
I don't know how to write it. Oh, there we go.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Francis Holland Camp.
So Barry's caramel. He got chocolate. What'd you get?
And my IG for someone who's asking is Bakes, BAKES, by Carrie,
Like
KARI.
a blackberry. Yeah. Boom. Gang. Now look, y'all. This is one. We have just hit 1 hour. So what that means is we're gonna transition to conversations with the people because I know y'all. If you got the kids situated, they may not stay situated too long, and I ain't trying to have them pop up on you like that. Our kids at the crib, you know what I mean. But if yours aren't, you know, I know they be popping out like daisies. So that slaps, bro. You killed that. I can't give you nothing but respect, bro. Yeah.
Well
You
done.
my audience, my G. You killed that. Yes, that was fantastic. So that's the AeroPress. If you want the recipes, Brown Girl Lettering is gonna write out our recipe, so you can see that on our Instagram tomorrow. If you want the Chemex recipe, you can go to the Common Cup with Instagram, and they'll have that. And this is Mages, you know what I mean? Section 901.
You don't got the shirt?
Squad.
Got the shirt?
Yep. You already know. So I want to have a conversation with you guys. Since this is a cipher, part of hip hop culture is kicking knowledge, right? And we're gonna do that same thing with this like new black culture that we're brewing right here, new black coffee culture. So I got 3 questions we always ask at a brew up, and I think they lead to really good conversations. They're open-ended questions. So the first question is, and we can kind of go. We'll do Carrie and John first, and we'll go to Melissa, and then I'll go last. What got you guys into coffee? Like, what got you excited about coffee? We kind of already touched on this, but just rephrase it because we got a lot of new people in the building.
You want to go first, John?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
so cute.
I got. If you haven't, well, I guess people know we're married. I'm assuming.
I would think so.
Hey, y'all, they married. So if you trying to shoot your shot, it's a wrap. Yo, they married. It's over with.
So, yeah, so I got into coffee. I don't know why, but I feel like it's a myth that like Black people don't drink coffee, but we do. So my grandfather was a bus driver. He drank coffee all the time.
Yep.
Now it tasted like mud, but that's what he drank.
Yep.
Everybody in my family drank coffee. So
Yeah.
growing up,
That's a good point.
yeah, my dad would always have a coffee brew, and for him it was just like a normal mixed coffee or whatever. Sometimes it was even instant, and I was just always, wanted to have something that he and I connected over. And so I said, Dad, let me try some coffee. I wanted to kind of insert myself into these more rituals. And he was like, okay, but if you're going to do it, it's going to be black. Because I want you to know what you're tasting and like what you're tasting.
Right.
And I was like, oh, like, I don't know if I'm
Elaborate
ready for
on that. You said
Right.
you wanted you to drink it black so that you could know what you're tasting. Can you elaborate on that some more?
Yeah, so I think for him it was a sense of like, don't just do something for the sake of doing it. But if you're going to be interested, if you're going to drink coffee, then know what coffee tastes like on its
Yeah.
own, not, compromise.
And I think that brings
and-
out a good point. Like, people may have missed it, but basically, if you're adding things into the coffee before you ever taste it, not saying don't ever add anything, but if you're drinking it and you have added things into it before you tasted it black, it's kind of hard to tell
Right.
what it tastes like. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So that's what I did. I did not like it. The first cup of coffee was instant. It was burnt. It was, just not a great cup of coffee. But I liked that I got to experience that with my dad.
Yeah, you like the community.
So, the community aspect. So that's kind of how that was the first time I consciously loved coffee. A little bit of a backstory is that my mom is a hairdresser. And so growing up and going to work with her, one of the other people who owned a chair next to her or rented a chair next to her would make me and my little brother kids coffee, which was coffee with like half a cup of coffee and half a cup of cream. And
Y'all had that powdery cream?
Exactly. Yeah, you already know.
Folks don't know what we talking about. They don't know about that. The powder cream.
Powdered cream for sure. And I'd be like, don't stir it all the way. I want to taste a little bit of the powder.
Yeah.
I want some of that. I want some
little
of the dry
crunch at the
chocolate.
bottom.
So I grew up doing that, and then I had the experience with my dad when I was in my, mid-teens, and that was my entry point. But what I loved about coffee is what you just said, Bart, is the community aspect. That me and my dad got to share that moment together, and that was our community. And from there, I just started working in coffee shops, and I've been doing that since I was like 15 or 16 years old.
Wow.
And moved from washing dishes at a coffee shop to being a barista to being a shift lead and moving up and managing and now directing two coffee shops here in the city. So for me, my passion has always been how can we keep people connected over this beverage that so many people love and enjoy.
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah. I love it. John, what about you, my G? How you get
So
into this
for
thing?
me, we have similar backgrounds. I was in youth development and worked in public schools for about 5 years.
Yo, shout out to the teachers right now. They going through.
Absolutely. So yeah, I worked in just like nonprofits in public schools on the west side of Chicago. And so just, when you want to meet with someone who's a teacher or meet with a community member, what do you say? Like, you don't want to sit down and have a meal every time,
Right.
So it's like, oh, we can just get coffee. And I would like order tea or,
Right.
I really didn't drink coffee. When we first started dating, I was like, you drink way too much coffee. Like, that's unhealthy.
You
And
addicted.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally.
And I never drank coffee. Like, if I needed caffeine in college, I would drink a Coke, and that would be enough caffeine for me. And so I had a roommate after college, shout out to Eddie. He would make coffee for me on Saturday mornings. And he'd like, half a cup of coffee with a little bit of cream. And I'm like, exactly. And I wouldn't even finish drinking that because that would be like enough for me. But as we dated more seriously and got engaged, again, I was adjacent to the coffee community, working in public schools. Teachers love coffee, so I started having coffee meetings with teachers more. And then I just started being in coffee shops more, visiting her and making friends with her coworkers at coffee shops. And just, I'm very extroverted, so just hanging out with folks in coffee shops. And then slowly and surely in the last few years, I went from not drinking coffee at all to I could drink an Americano, and I would put bunch of honey in my Americano.
Yo, I was on that honey in the coffee tip too, yo. That's how I got off of the sugar.
Yes.
Yeah. That was my thing. And then I could drink a latte. And then
Wait, did you say an Americano?
Americano.
Bro, we got hooked off the literal same thing. That was like my drink when I was at Wheaton College and I was getting off of like nasty, gross college coffee. I was like, let's get an Americano. I felt so fancy, y'all. I was like, I want an Americano with honey. Like, that was my John, yo. I feel you.
I thought I was doing something.
Yeah.
But then
Me too. I felt bougie as a mug.
I love Frittados, and then the last 2 years, I started getting into espresso. And then my nonprofit collapsed, and I was like, I need a job. And I had friends in coffee, and I grew to love coffee, got a job at Heritage Coffee, and rose to management there. And now I'm manager for Entrepreneurship Coffee.
That's dope, yo. That's dope. That's dope. It's beautiful seeing these stories connect. Melissa, we heard about your story from New York and getting into coffee there at Anchor Coffee. What kind of brought you into coffee in Chicago? And did you ever have any connections to coffee as a child?
So I grew up with my great grandmother, my grandmother, and my mother.
I bet I knew that. I feel like in my spirit, I knew that. You got that like don't mess with me vibe. I just respect you. Yeah.
But I mean, the grandmothers would get up and drink coffee, and so I'm kind of an old person myself.
Yeah.
I would get up with them, and then I started to slowly, go grocery shopping with my grandfather or whatever, and I would get those little international coffee, those cans, the
Yep.
flavors.
Yep. The
And-
flavored coffee.
Right, the flavored coffee, and I also drink it out of a nice, like coffee cup or tea cup or whatever. So it was all about the experience for me.
Come on, yo. Talk about
It
that.
was all about the experience.
What memories do you have? Like, what are the emotions you associate with coffee in your childhood?
It's the first thing in the morning. It's like
Yeah.
I don't even know. It's like your first words.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Come on. Well, hold on.
Poetry.
She dropping bars on these folks, yo.
He's a poet over here. Damn.
You know, the teacher, don't say nothing about it.
Come on, yo.
But it was also the presentation. So even later,
Yeah.
I still drank coffee, but it would make my stomach hurt.
Right.
I couldn't figure out, I didn't know anything about high acidity and bad water, bad
Yeah.
creams. So I just kind of listened to my body, and it kind of guided me to different things where it's like, oh, this coffee doesn't hurt, or I can function off of this, or,
Yeah.
like it tastes good. Like all I need is one cup. That's all you need. Like
Yep.
you just need one mic. Just need one cup.
All I need is one mic. Come on, yo. Hey,
So-
Matt, can we bring the camera up? Keep going.
Oh, so when I finally found Parlor, the acidity was low,
Yeah.
and I found myself being satisfied by that one cup.
Yeah.
That 10-ounce cup. I didn't
Yeah.
need it,
Yeah.
which is why I only serve 10-ounce cups. I won't serve
Yo.
anything more.
That's so dope.
I'll serve 12 ounces for ice. You don't need that much. If you want another one, then you have to buy it.
Come
But
on, yo.
I refuse to sell it to you.
Yes. Everything in your shop has a reason. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like when I just felt like the space was highly curated, and like even I'm seeing the connection, like you as a child seeing coffee as this thing where the presentation was highly important, right?
Yeah.
And now in your shop, like one of your values is presentation, right?
Yeah.
It's the space.
Yeah.
And-
But you can create the space even if you don't have anything. That's
Come on
why I
now.
always wanted a small shop.
Yeah.
Because if you can create something in 400 square feet or less, I mean, that says a lot versus getting a big space and trying to do all this stuff. It's energy.
Yeah, come on. It's the
Energy.
vibe. It's the vibration.
Yep.
I feel you. I think for me, coffee was kind of a mix between everybody's story. Like for me, coffee was a way for me to connect with my father and with the older men in my community. And so coffee was this thing that the older men would drink at church. You know, we had the powdery sugar and powdery cream, and you just scoop that joint in there and splash a little coffee on top. You got a little milkshake, you know?
Right.
So like that's what I used to do. I was like a junior usher at church. So I'm sitting by there, you know, and I just sneak a little sip of the coffee. And then my one of my mentors in college, who mentored me, discipled me, taught me a lot about God, about life, about like just college. Like he was an older, cool guy, so we would go to Starbucks, and I would drink. You know, I'm ashamed to say it now, but I would drink frappuccinos. And
We've all got a
all my
pass.
No, I got straight frappuccinos, and I had the single. I was like, let me get the strawberry joint. So they didn't even have no coffee in it. You know what I mean? But for me, you know, Starbucks, people in the specialty coffee community will hate on Starbucks, but the reality is Starbucks brought, in my opinion, some of the Africanness of coffee back into the West, which is making it about creating a third space, right? Which is about making it a space for people to gather and to intentionally focus on what is shared versus what just is imbibed, right? And so I put respect on Starbucks' name for that. You know what I mean? And some of they, I don't know what they call them. I think it's like unique origins. I don't know what they be calling them, gents, but the reserve coffees kind of slap sometimes. You know what I mean? So
Right. And can I add to that real quick, just to say,
yes.
I think Starbucks has done more to make coffee feel inclusive than
Yep.
specialty coffee shops have.
Oh,
And
facts.
so,
Yeah.
like people feel more comfortable going into a Starbucks than they would a local quote unquote specialty coffee shop, right? And so
Yeesh.
they really have actually created like a slight on ramp into coffee for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Who
I mean-
wouldn't go ahead.
No,
Melissa.
go ahead.
I was gonna say who maybe wouldn't feel like they could fit into coffee culture.
Yeah.
And so, because if you think about it, a lot of people on college, their first jobs work for Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people at Intelligentsia or Dark Matter City or wherever,
Yeah.
a lot of people have a history working at Starbucks. And so
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of things, especially coffee industry, knocks about Starbucks. But one thing I always say that I'm, I guess, grateful for when it comes to it is that it's knocked down a lot of walls for people in getting into coffee. More so
Yes.
than the shops out there. They can also be quite potential.
I mean, if you didn't have Starbucks, you wouldn't have this.
That's a fact.
I mean,
Yeah.
so I don't hate on them. It's just it's the energy. You can't
Yeah.
help who you hire.
Yeah.
You are the space.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't knock any of the coffee shops because I get it. I don't knock Starbucks. Sure, I don't enjoy some of their drinks, but that's really what they're there for. They're there to sell you a frappuccino, not a coffee.
Right. They're really
Yeah.
there to get you to enjoy. I mean, from a marketing perspective, they're there to get you to buy into their brand. But
Exactly.
from a like, service industry perspective, the thing that they're trying to provide to you is comfort outside of the home. Like the third space is what they've kind of put their stamp on, and that wasn't something that was available where anywhere you go in America, you can go to a place that feels comfortable and a little bit like home by going to a Starbucks. And they ain't pay me no money, I ain't even, y'all ain't even drinking Starbucks like that. But I'm just saying, I think it's important, and we can go ahead and get into this bag. I wasn't gonna go here, but y'all unapologetically black. So we gonna go ahead and get into this. Look.
We don't have a choice.
Look,
Exactly.
that's on period.
What
On
else can I
period, Pooh. So look, in the coffee industry, there's been a lot of conversation, and Memphis and Chicago are uniquely placed because the black communities that are in those cities tend to have an experience that I think is one that most people would say, where people experience racism pretty frequently. Memphis is a 70% black city. But most people here are familiar with what racism is. Chicago is, again, one of those cities where the black people who live there are fairly segregated. The traditional black neighborhoods, anyway. And that's intentional on the architecture of the city. Like when they plant, is it the Dan Ryan, right? Like they intentionally split off the black, and this is just me being a nerd studying sociology at Wheaton. We talked about this. So I think coffee a lot of times is a microcosm of the racism that we experience in the country as a whole. Like you can see these little examples. And at Coffee Black, we like to call that the sugar in the cream. Okay, so everybody say it with me. The sugar in the cream, okay? So for you all, what is some of the sugar in the cream that you feel like needs to be removed from the coffee industry, from the brew, from this situation right now that's happening in America? We have a lot of black people right now who are not even on the couch. They're protesting. They're in the street, and allies of different ethnicities and cultures are protesting because of the continued police brutality and vigilante violence in our country. And coffee shops are not immune to this situation, right?
At all.
They're not immune to this. And so for you all, as you all are in Chicago and myself in Memphis, what are some of the things that you all see in the industry as a whole, or even that you experience locally? You don't have to name no names, you know what I mean? But what are some things, some practices or cultural values that you think should be, kind of pulled out of the brew, like a little bit too much sugar, too much cream?
See, because I sort of built my own house, I didn't ask
Come
to
on
go to
now.
anybody's house. I'm self-taught. I had some help from a couple of people. Shout out to Josh.
Yeah.
I can't relate necessarily to the strives, but I do understand. I have been part of a union.
Yeah.
So I know those. I know what's in that. I've dealt with that. So it's no different anywhere else. All the industries are the same.
Even as a consumer, like, have you noticed the way that the spaces are curated to be welcoming or unwelcoming to black people or black communities?
Here's the thing.
Because one thing I found about your space is that I walked into your shop and I felt like it was okay to be black in here. Like I walked in, I almost expect to see some incense burning somewhere. It might have
There
been some
were
incense.
incense burn.
No,
I
it
always
was
burn
some
incense.
incense. Look,
Yeah,
so
I
I was
burn
like,
incense.
so I'm like,
Aromatherapy is real.
it's real. When I walked in, it felt black. You know what I mean? I felt comfortable. I had to bounce. You know what I mean? It felt like it was hip hop playing. It was dope. That's different than a normal coffee shop.
Well, that's why I built my own house, because I got tired of going to different coffee spaces.
Talk about that.
And they have a distinct smell. I don't care what color it is. And the walls are terrible art, terrible photography. The music is loud. It's terrible. The baristas are dirty. Not all of them, but it's an experience where I go in and I'm going to put something in my body, and I want good shit. I wear good shit. I want good shit. I'm gonna pay for good shit. So it was more so out of frustration of ain't no Coogee rap on, ain't no BDP. Where's the education? Where's the homage to all of our people?
Yeah.
I mean, Frank Sinatra could be one shot. I mean, it's a ton of different music.
Yeah.
It's music.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of fed up. And honestly, I didn't really want to create a space where I wanted to be where creatives come, but you come and then you get the fuck up out of there. You don't need to hang out and do your taxes and call your mom and
Don't
do
be
all
over
of that
here
stuff.
hanging out. You ain't buying nothing.
Yeah, I mean, because you're in my energy.
Right.
I created that.
Look, that's why I be saying you give me big auntie energy. You know what I mean? Because it's like, come on over. I got you, baby. You good, but don't stay over too long. Because I'm going to see you back to your mama's house.
Basically. Basically.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
But, I mean, it's that thing where even when you go into our own establishments, and I'm like, all the culture and the music we've created and art and things, the music, how come we don't have that? We're not playing that music.
Why I got to be all lo-fi beats? Come on.
Not even just lo-fi, but like, where's the 20s? Where's the 30s? Where's the 40s? I mean, like, it should be well-rounded. I'm not hating on anybody.
But you trying to see different notes. Come on now, son. You want different notes.
Just like what I'm drinking. Just like that's the same when I would go places and I'm like, how come there's only one type of coffee?
Yeah.
Where's variety? It's a million roasters.
Yeah.
That was another thing. So I became a multi-roaster where I was kind of like, let me shout out to you. Because basically, nobody's going to put you on. I put myself on.
Come on now.
So with that, I'm trying to put on everybody else and share that experience.
Yeah.
I don't know who's paying attention. I don't really care.
Yeah.
It's
because
more
you're creating
for me.
a story, and that story is timeless. You know what I mean?
And it's for me because at the end of the day, if something happened, I can say I did it, I tried it.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
I love it. Yes. So I think that's a piece. Like, man, I feel like we ought to say amen. You know what I mean? Like,
literally, just
look,
gold.
come on, Auntie Melissa preaching.
Collection plate.
But I mean, it's one of those. Wouldn't you
Pass
say
a cash app, something.
when you go somewhere and you don't like it, then make your own shit. I don't complain about it.
Yeah.
And I know it's not easy because I don't even know how I'm doing this. 3 years later.
By the strength of God.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
obviously.
Come on now. You swinging on them. You swinging on these folks.
But you just have to make it. Would you agree, Kari and John? I mean, you have to make it your own, and then those people who are attracted to it will come. Those that don't like it or got too many suggestions or different things, they can go somewhere else. That's what Dunkin' Donuts is for. That's what the other places are for. Everybody has their own village.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so this is like more so Carrie's very much like the coffee expert.
Yeah.
And just as an aside, this would be a whole other conversation. As an aside, we'll walk into a space together and people will talk to me.
Wow.
Like I know more.
Wow.
And focus all the energy to me. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're saying, but she knows. And she actually could teach you something.
Yeah.
But you didn't even say hello to her.
You didn't even speak to this black woman.
Exactly. So that's a whole nother thing. So
but talk on that though. Touch on that. And I'm gonna ask my wife to come up here too. Baby, would you mind coming up to talk on that?
John, when I'm playing my music and they're like, people will come in and be like, oh, whose playlist or you guys, and it's like, it's me.
Yeah, you said that a lot.
Yeah.
It's my shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my ear.
Yeah.
Address me.
And I think one of the struggles is like being black in coffee. Sometimes you can just be a face. People like just treat it as like you're like, oh, it's cool. Like these are black coffee professionals. Let's like here are 10 black coffee people you should follow. Like let's do this to make us feel better. But it's like the thing is like what we know to be real in the larger society it still happens in coffee, where it's like, here are the black people in coffee you should follow, but then it ends up being black men or, like black men led things, and then black women still don't get the space in the crowd that y'all have like worked to create your own thing. So that's what I'm saying. I wasn't even gonna talk to like that, but I was gonna talk more to like the creation of your own space and your own thing because for me, coming into a shop that had existed for 12 years before I came in to manage was quite the hardship. You know what I'm saying? Like it was where like it wasn't a hardship per se, but it was just such a stark transition. And so I think to Melissa's point, your space should be a reflection of you. And so one day we repainted the space and everything, and one of the baristas was like, the colors in here really feel like John's wardrobe. And I was like, perfect. I was like, I'm okay with that
And
because
somebody in the comments said you had great overalls, by the
Come on,
way.
yo.
oh,
Respect to the overalls.
That's signature Johnson.
Yeah, they said
so
you had great overalls.
So yeah, it's just like it should be an emanation of you, and I think when it is a reflection of you, that shows authenticity. And I think to Melissa's point, it's like you do know what you're doing because you're doing you. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just being you, and it's just like an overflow of that into coffee. When I came to everybody's busy, I really felt like I was in your living room.
Yep.
Like it's like, damn, she got an espresso machine in her house. It's like, oh wait, we're not at her house. Like,
Yep.
so.
No, that's real, and you touched on something so important when you talked about just the way black women are treated in the industry. Like I feel like they get the worst of it. Like personally, I got mild disrespect. I more so peep game on a like systemic level, but people were like very personally disrespectful to my wife, who co-founded the company with us. This is Renata Henderson, aka Brown Girl Lettering, aka that fine girl right there. You know what I mean?
Gas her up. Gas her up. Do it.
So look, and she's, we got one more baby on the way. That's
Oh,
how you know I
congrats.
think she fine. You know what I mean?
Congrats.
So that'll be three sons. But my wife had a crazy experience. Like we would go to coffee shops, baby, tell them what happened.
Yeah, so we walk into these coffee shops, and I'm the type of person, I don't force myself on anybody. So for me, I'm not going to answer a question unless you ask me. I don't tap dance unless I hear music. What did Denzel Washington say? I Remember the Titans. He's like, I don't scratch my head unless it itch.
Yep.
So for me, walking in these spaces, like, this is not my space. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm getting to know everybody. If y'all want some, come to me. But they go up to my husband and they have, this full conversation about ratios and sounds like Russian to me. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go sit over here and introvert. But there were times I was entering the conversation and I just became invisible. Hey, so Bart, I'm sorry, let me take the voice away. So Bart, how have you been brewing lately? All this kind of stuff, and I'm standing here, a whole human being, and at this point I know enough about coffee to be in a conversation, and I'm actually interested now. I feel like I'm a part, like I'm to blame for Coffee Black. I bought him an espresso machine our first year of marriage. And so I'm like, okay, I know about coffee too, but y'all can talk to me as a person, and so on the other end of it, I'm like, y'all know the shirt you got on right now, I designed that. Did you know that? Okay, no? Okay. Just FYI, you want to ignore me, but that's my handwriting on your shirt. So it's always interesting because I'm like, I don't ever fight to get into anybody's spaces. And so going into these places being ignored, and it came to a point where Bart would be like,
You can't be out here giving my government.
sorry, government.
Right.
Giving my
Government.
government.
There's no such thing as the name I just said. So, yes, incognito. So for me, I'm like, I'm entering these spaces and whatever, and I'm just kind of like, y'all, okay, I'm in here. I want to be a part. I'm trying because I'm an introvert, and sometimes I don't like people, but It's
I
more
don't
than
like
some-
him at all.
It's more than it's just like y'all a lot. Okay, y'all are a lot.
All three of y'all. All three of y'all.
You know that just itchy. It's just an itch.
Right.
This is the true fact.
He said, "This is a true fact." I do, and I've walked away from conversations because I'm like, you have to earn me, and so and there are some spaces where I'm like, hey, I feel like, man, I really want to take time and invest in this person, invest in this business, but so often it's just like, am I just here? So like, an example here in Memphis, come back downtown. Comeback Coffee is a great company. We've enjoyed partnering with them. So we've had shows there. We've done, even like yesterday, they carry our coffee. They've carried my products. And so separately, because I'm a separate person, Brown Girl Lettering is not an entity of Coffee Black. Whenever we go down there, I'm acknowledged as a person. Like, I had a full conversation with Amy over there yesterday, and she was like, how are you? How's the pregnancy? She knows stuff about my personal life. Her husband is always just like, how are the boys? So I think somebody was asking in the comments, what are some of the cream and sugars that need to be removed from the actual, like, how did they put it? I can't remember if they said the culture or the foundation of coffee. I'm not sure. But I think the pretense needs to be removed. I think this idea that I come to you as a Black woman only having this, this, and this, and so many people were scared to interact with me because they assumed I'm only angry. I only have an attitude. I'm only an introvert, not knowing I'm dynamic. I'm more than just, I'm a Black woman who is also a mother, who also loves to letter, who also loves musicals, who also loves dancing. I'm dynamic, and I think people, this pretense that, yes, I'm an angry Black woman sometimes. Okay,
But you're human. You're human.
I'm human.
Exactly.
There's an angry Black man, an angry white man, an angry white woman. But only Black women get this stigma of unapproachable. And it's this whole like pretense that causes people to assume we don't have anything to give, or we don't even want to give. And I'm like, no, you gotta approach me the same way. You gotta approach me the same way you would approach a male in the same.
But you know
sense.
what? Those aren't your people.
They're not. And like I said, I'm never, like I said, I'm never begging anybody. I don't ever beg anybody for attention ever.
Right.
If I'm friends with somebody or if I know somebody, it's because I see, man, I'm going to invest in you as who you are, as who I see God has made you to be, not because I'm trying to get in a circle. I don't do circles. I don't do cliques. I don't do all that stuff. It's too much. And so anyway, yeah, I think that's kind of one of the sugars and creams that needs to be removed, because I'm just I'm exhausted of it. I think there is a funny thing that happened though. And y'all, I'm pregnant, so I'm out of breath already. But
Get her some water.
give me some water.
Right. Get that woman some water.
I'm sorry. Thank you, servant boy. But anyway, one of the funniest things happened at a shop here. My husband talked to one of the baristas there, and I think the next time we came down there, he tried to include me in a conversation that I was completely disinterested in. Completely, I didn't have it. I was like, y'all don't have a dog in this race. Why are you talking to me about this? But I think once people realize your value goes beyond what you can do for them. And it's deeper than what you can actually service them, but it's actually who you are. Like I'm a very valuable person. I believe I am, and so in this business, people are so focused on got to make the right cup, got to make all these measurements and things like that. And I think that's part of the sugar and cream that needs to be removed. I don't know if did you ask me a question?
No,
I don't know if I answered
really, I
it.
just wanted y'all to see how dope she is, because I get to see this every day.
Unless I'm
and-
having a mood swing, he doesn't get to see this side of me.
Yeah, what I mean. We blame it on the baby. But I think that this conversation is really valuable because it brings about a lot of things that, we think needs to happen in the conversation and in our culture. Now, Elizabeth just texted me and said that some people want to know where to get the Love Black People shirt.
I put the link in.
Yeah.
The link is in the comments, but I'll put it in there again.
Yeah, just go to coffeeblack.com, CX like Malcolm X, coffeeblack.com /brew culture, and you can get that stuff. Man, it's getting late. We started at 7. It's 8:30. I can talk to y'all for forever. When this is like over, we brewing up for real. Like we going up to the shop, we gonna brew up for real because this is beautiful. But one thing I wanted to do was talk to you guys about what our vision for the future of the Black coffee community is. Like, what do we see happening by the blending of Black culture or reconnecting Black culture to Black coffee? Like in our neighborhoods, with youth, with families engaging in businesses, with the arts. Like, what are some of you guys' dreams and some things that you're just curious about right now with seeing happen in the industry in Chicago?
Can I go first, please?
Go right ahead.
Yes,
I'm
John
very
Pendleton.
excited. Very excited for this question.
Yeah.
I had so with my background with young people, like I have a heart for putting young people on, like, and going back to our conversation about Starbucks earlier, or mentioning that,
Yeah.
I think I will train 40 young Black people if they are willing
Come
to
on.
get them in the door there, because that company is so big that they can pay them well, they can get them health insurance, they can get them basic needs met.
So we sending Omarion up for the internship. That's what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Say less.
Yeah,
Omarion over there in the back, like, yeah.
Send them on up. Like we're working on a youth internship program with Entrepreneurship Coffee, with the Common Cup and Overflow.
Come on.
That I'll be leading up, and that's what I'm excited about, because we can have all these conversations about, like, whatever we want to talk about with these coffee shops.
Mm-hmm.
But these dirty baristas that Melissa mentioned is like, these dirty baristas are walking away with $100 and $200 in tips, depending on what shop they're in.
Yep.
And they're just figuring out life, they're doing coffee as they're like in between things.
Yep.
And I'm trying to help young Black folks understand that you can have a whole career in this. Last thing I'll say is, I was at my shop the other day, and these young Black dudes were hanging out on our patio, and one of them was smoking, and I was like, hey, like, you can hang out here, but you can't smoke. And he was like, all right, bet. And I was like, thank you. And when I walked back by, he was like, wait, you the boss here? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yep.
And it was this sense of like, this Black man is a manager of this coffee shop. Like, what? Like, it was like pure confusion, and I want more people to see me as a Black man, care as a Black woman in these spaces, and not as a novelty, but as
a normality.
As normality, for sure.
This is the thing that has to change. Like, we have to begin to reintroduce it to people. So, like, my passion is that the first time the next generation of young Black kids get introduced to coffee, it's Black already. I'm not even having a conversation on, well, it can be Black, or you can get it. They just assume it's Black. Like,
Bart, that's every industry.
Come on, yo. Talk about
exactly.
it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I think it goes back to the fact of talking about how John mentioned, us going into coffee spaces together, and people being like completely ignorant to the fact that I can know something about coffee and potentially know more than John.
Yeah.
People have no concept of a Black woman knowing about coffee to the level that they would feel interested to engage. When they think about a person who knows about coffee, I can guarantee you that picture to mind is not a Black woman. And so there's so many times, even when I've worked in shops, that people would come in and look past me to the coworker who's 6 feet behind me, 10 feet behind me, and say, excuse me, can you tell me about the coffees that are on the menu today? When I'm the person in front of them ready to serve them. And so I think, there are some things in our own minds when we think about coffee and coffee shops, where it's like, do you have a diversity of teachers?
Yeah.
Like, do you have a diversity of experiences in the way that you're drinking coffee? Or do you only receive coffee from, one type of home? And I think that, that part is interesting. But to the question of what we're interested in, is John and I have a huge passion in development.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things about working in coffee shops has always been teaching and training people in the industry and realizing that this could be a career.
Yeah.
A lot of people in my family are like, oh yeah, Carrie's a barista. Or like, she's been a barista for 10 years, and they don't realize that, currently I'm a part of building a coffee shop from the ground up, working with designers and architects and building out space and choosing every element, for the coffee shop as part of entrepreneurship. And
that's beautiful.
The point of that is to say, I will always do the work of intentionally making space for Black people in coffee. And I don't think enough, like, if you think about, like, just general coffee shops, are doing the work of looking outside of their own white network to find Black people and invite them into that space.
Yes.
And even those who do invite Black people into that space, it's not a safe space for them.
Yeah.
Because you haven't gone deeper and made sure that within the culture of your company, Black people will be safe.
You're because they're requiring Black individuals and Black communities even to assimilate in order to participate. When in reality, what needs to be done is we have to change the whole situation, right? Like we have to resituate what coffee is and how it operates so that it is automatically synonymous and something that is natural to a Black person to see. So I feel like, you all are building that space. Melissa, your space already is that space. You know what I mean? Like these are things that we're at Coffee Black. We're trying to articulate this through the arts and of course through the coffee and branding. But we want to communicate like this is something for you, right?
But the thing with your coffee is actually good. See, my thing is buy better shit, spend money. That's what I want to change. And some of the Black coffee communities, some of the white ones too, and some of the whatevers, invest, buy better shit.
Yeah.
Basically, spend the money.
Yeah.
Stop being cheap. Everything doesn't have to be local. You might be able to get something out of Memphis $40 cheaper than downstate Illinois.
Yeah.
I don't want my stomach to hurt.
Yes, that part is critical too. Because in Chicago, I just had the question today. Someone said, "Can you recommend a coffee shop in Chicago, Black owned?" And I'm gonna be honest.
But here's the thing: I don't even list myself as Black owned because you know what? Oh my God! Look, I'm Black and I'm a woman.
Yeah.
Whoa! And I make coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be pretty stupid not to put it all together. I'm just saying.
But here's the thing, Melissa. Some people are pretty stupid.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know
And
that.
they're like, oh,
And
who's
people-
the white man that owns everybody's busy? Because clearly it can be you.
Yes. And I think people, if they don't see it or are not told it, they won't look and they'll miss because there is a conversation that happens when people recommend shops and they just never get around to the Black shops.
Yep.
They just never get around to it. And so some people have to be intentional, I think, in it. There's got to be some way for us to begin to have a wider knowledge base. And that's where the idea for our shirt, Love Black People Like You Love Black Coffee. Look, baristas spend all this time researching and literally measuring with light the particles of a dissolved solid within a liquid to figure out everything they can about, coffee can't talk. So they have to go do their own work to learn about how to properly articulate the wonderful notes in this cup. But when it comes, so that's what they do for Black coffee. When it comes to Black people, somebody got to educate you. You can't go read a book. You pull out the refractometer, my G. Go learn something. Ask a question.
Hey, Bart, you got to be interested.
You got to be interested.
Sorry.
That's the truth. That's just the truth. And that's where the phrase comes from because people love single origin coffees, but they ignore single origin people. And that has to change. That has to change because what I believe is you Melissa, the coffee just tastes different when I was in your spot.
Yeah.
I don't even drink coffee with sugar and cream in it. That's the whole motto.
I do.
I was slurping on the sugar and cream. You had that latte tasting fuego, but it was the space literally taste is a sensory experience. And so if the other senses are not engaged, the Japanese have this phrase umami, right? Which talks about this unspeakable taste. It's just a blend of multiple experiences in one, right? Like you are bringing in umami to coffee, right? And I think that happens when you recognize the origin of the coffee beyond the notes and go to the actual natural characteristics of the people in the space, right? Like how you in a black Latino neighborhood, but ain't got no black Latino music playing in the shop? How you in a black Latino neighborhood, but don't got no black Latino employees in the shop? How you in a black Latino neighborhood selling black and Latino coffee, but you weird when a black and Latino kid walks through the door?
Yep.
You want to call the police?
That's taught though.
So to me, I think it has to change with people realizing there's something to be learned and something to benefit. Don't love black people because I'm telling you.
Right.
I talked to Guy last night. He said when he made creation, it was good, which means there's something you're missing out on by not engaging with the people around you, because human beings have a natural value.
Right.
I heard my wife say, I'm important, right? Each person around you, these communities have value. And people know that because they go all the way to an origin trip to find out more about the coffee. So you realize these people got something valuable. We just here to tell you today, this morning, that the value extends beyond their products and it actually goes to the people and their purpose, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, go ahead.
I'm done.
To your point about, shops not being in these neighborhoods, black brown neighborhoods, and not representing the people. When people come to me and say, "Oh, we're setting up a roaster in, this black-owned neighborhood," this happened last year. We really want to be sensitive to the climate. We really want to get in there and benefit the community. Blah blah blah. So we're thinking about there's a coffee shop nearby. We want to sell them some discounted coffee. And there's this idea of almost let me pay you off to make myself feel good about being here.
Right.
It's like, why not teach this person how to do the job they're doing?
Right. Why not go and ask a question first in the neighborhood?
Why not add value to that person where they're no longer dependent on you, or where they can be at the same level or higher than you?
Yes.
But that requires that requires a relinquishing of power.
Come on now.
Why would I teach you how to roast coffee like me so you have the potential to either beat me or overtake me?
Yep.
We're not concerned about being you.
Yep.
So instead of teaching me and allowing me the opportunity to gain a new skill so that I can then teach my family and my community and we can grow, you'd rather just give me something.
Yes.
So that I walk away and you feel good about having service in the community.
And this is the thing people don't. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but I think at the core of it, for a lot of people, and who aren't willing to do the work and don't have the self-awareness, they don't believe that black people can learn. It's like, Melissa can't own her own coffee shop. Clearly, there has to be some group of white male investors somewhere.
Wow.
Clearly, there's got to be, John can't be the manager of the shop. And his wife can't be the top director of both of these two shops. And it can't be owned by a black man. Clearly, I have had conversations with people where they just come out of it. Where it's like, this is core belief that this is not what black people do. And if it's something that black people do, they can't learn it.
Yo.
And it's evil, but it's real.
But you know what's crazy?
Where the foghorn at, bro?
What's crazy is, it's I don't even know how to explain it. It's just this. This is it. I mean, really, this is it. And honestly, if you dig way back, this is it in your family.
Where I'm going.
So, I mean, what the
How
fuck?
How can you assume black people can't teach you about something they created?
We've been nursing and teaching our entire lives.
The whole game came from y'all. So I'm just I'm gonna bring it down.
When black people start owning and managing coffee shops and start roasting and doing our own thing, it will be better.
Oh, but you know what? It starts with us. I'm not gonna put on the allies because some of the allies are very alley-licious.
Yes.
It starts with us.
She said,
It starts with us. It's a lot of us who look at each other and it's like, oh, that coffee, my grandmother used to drink that. It's a fucking drink.
Yep.
You don't want it?
Yep.
Don't drink it.
Yep.
But try it.
And be
It's-
curious.
Yeah. Take a chance.
Experiment. Try it a different way. Change how much you, and the curiosity, like I wanted to touch on this. Well, real quick. If you didn't know, where the bag at? Give me the bag. Where the bag? Where the bag? Okay.
This got me fired up.
The coffee plant was stolen from Africa in 1616 by 2 Dutch spies.
Like
That's on the
everything
back
else.
of the bag. So if you didn't know, coffee was discovered by a black man named Kaldi or Khalid, depending on who you talk to in Ethiopia, who was from the Oromo ethnic group, who are currently protesting in Ethiopia right now because they're still oppressed. That black man from an oppressed black group discovered coffee. And his people group live in a place in Ethiopia called Oromia, which is still to this day where most of the dope coffee in Ethiopia comes from. And Dutch people stole that coffee from Africa because the coffee plant transplanted all the way over to Yemen. They stole it from the Port of Mocha and began the process of conquering nations, and through a long, long process that I'm not going to get into because I don't want to talk about it today, they began to transplant plants in Indonesia, in Sri Lanka, in India, and that process was how the plants were then given to the French emperor at the time, who brought coffee, or who someone stole coffee from him, and then they went to Haiti, and then they went to Brazil, and then they went to Jamaica, and then they went to the rest of Central America, and that is where all this coffee that's all over the world is coming from. So then they forced indigenous and black slaves who were brought over in 1619, 3 years after the first seeds were stolen. They forced those people to grow the coffee on coffee plantations. So if you're trying to somehow make a point that says, how can black people teach us anything about coffee? The real question is, how can they not?
And also, I don't want to talk to you.
Yes.
Come on.
I don't want to talk to you.
Yes, yes. So I just
And I think,
go ahead, you got it.
no, I was just going to add to Melissa is that for a long time, and it's just, I'm being honest, for a long time, I felt like if I want to cement the coffee shops that I work in as a part of the specialty coffee industry, I have to get the approval of these large names within the city of Chicago.
You need the cosigns.
And there was, and this is as a barista before I was in management, so this is probably 7-8 years ago. And I'm thinking, okay, how do I, I'm working in these shops, how do I become one of the people that's called on to be a judge and a throwdowner? There's just certain spaces where I felt like that's where I need to be to make a difference, right?
Yes.
And that's not true. I grew out of that. But what I'm saying is, we cannot stress how important it is to focus more so on the people that we want to help in our community, and how can we create on-ramps for them to get into coffee, since that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
And I've had to focus because my energy was being drained, focusing on people who had no time to look at me.
Come on now. Trying to make
And so-
yourself fit their palate, right?
Exactly.
Their sugar
And
and
so-
their cream.
Exactly.
Come on
and
now.
so it's been so liberating realizing that it's here whether you see it or not.
Yeah.
And
Come on now.
I'm going to get
Them
to where I need
notes
to go
shining
whether
through.
you want me there or not. And so
Come on now.
you have absolutely no authority to stop, hinder, or delay
on now.
anywhere where I'm going to go.
Come on now. Hallelujah.
So I'm going to focus on the people that I need to, my community, my friends, my whatever, and we're all going to get to where we need to go together. And
Yes.
you're either going to catch up or you're not, or you're going to be left behind, and that's just it.
Yes.
Yeah, those are your people.
And yeah,
Yep. And the same thing I believe is going to happen with black coffee culture that happened with hip hop. Black people, indigenous people, people who are down with the culture are going to create something dope that's going to be not only aesthetically dope, financially dope and profitable, and it's going to blow up, and then you're going to have to come in afterwards and say, yo, how can we get on? Put us on to what you're doing. Because right now, my man, I Make Mad Beats here in the city, he always says this. Hip-hop is the most consumed, specifically trap hip hop, trap music is the most consumed form of music in the world. It's the most consumed genre, and black people created it, and somehow we don't have ownership in the industry, right? And when people want to have conversations about music, somehow they think that these are not the experts you should be asking. These hood people who created this real ratchet form in Memphis, we call it crunk music. You know, 3 6 Mafia and them, Gangsta Boo and them back in the day, they made this wonderful A-Ball and MJG. I ain't gonna start naming names because I'm gonna forget. You know, A-Ball and MJG recorded in this studio that we're standing in right now.
I love them.
And created this sound that is now, when it hit Atlanta, turned into trap, and through T.I. and them, it turned into the biggest form of music in the world, and yet somehow people don't consider to consult the people who originated as the experts and give them their props. Same thing with coffee, right? Black people created, as we reclaim it as a part of our heritage. My homie Steven Zinnerman, right now, as an environmental scientist and coffee roaster, is working on a paper on the origins of West African coffee, because that's a whole other conversation. People want to, it was just in East Africa, bro. Africa didn't get split up like this until till colonizers came in. We ain't even gonna get on that right now, because in America I heard something about a 1-drop rule. So let's not even talk. If it's black, it's black. Now you can't have it both ways. Now one day you have black, or it's East Africa, or it's the Middle East, and then the next day we talk Africa. Anyway, when it is reclaimed, it's gonna be dope. The indigenous coffee culture that's blooming on the continent right now, in places like Indonesia right now, in places like Brazil right now, or Colombia, is dope. And when people get hip to it, they're gonna want to be a part of it, because inherently there's something missing in the third wave experience. We ain't even gonna get into that right now. Last question, because I got a rap for these people. And then we all got to go to bed, and my kids sleep. My wife done already left. Question. What are you curious about right now? Like, what is something that excites you in coffee that makes you want to go and pull out the scale, or tuck in and dial in the espresso a little bit more, or rearrange the playlist? I'm coming to you, Melissa. Or change the colors in the shop. Or what's something you're interested or curious about in coffee right now? It could be the combination of music and sound and taste. It could be the combination of, smell and taste. Could be particular origins or roasting. What are you excited about in coffee right now?
You know what I want? I want some better tops for cups.
Okay, talk about it.
I mean, yeah, I want some better packaging. Want some better tops for cups. I want some new straws.
Come on now. What do you dislike about the straws? Let's get nerdy real quick. What do you dislike?
I don't like
about
the paper.
Straws?
The paper on the straws. I use plastic straws. That paper straw is trash. I don't care. Planet is already shit. So, but if I'm drinking something, it affects the taste in the paper.
Yeah.
So it's a whole bunch of stuff we got to do to save the planet.
Come on now.
It don't start with straws. But anyway, I also would like I'd like to be able to really test. I'd like to be involved in testing the new equipment and putting it out there on the market and showing people different things, because I'm a consumer to the utmost.
Yeah.
And I don't see enough of us consuming, and I know we consume. We just consume quietly.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see, workshops or different things where it's like, hey, here's a new La Marzocco doing blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Interacting with these give me
Melissa,
some new stuff.
We're going to have a conversation offline. I can't talk about this publicly yet.
Okay.
We're going to talk. I feel you. Cups.
Okay, and then
straws,
when y'all
and
talk,
equipment.
Melissa, tell me about that combo.
Okay.
Yes. No, I got you. We'll start a group chat. But yeah, that's very important. I'm gonna say this. Tune in to the brewer to the cupping tomorrow. But okay, so and Carrie, what about you? What are you curious about?
Yeah, and so it's a little bit of what Melissa said, and for me, I've always been interested in the retail side of it, right? The customer service, the cafe experience. And so elevating that and always thinking about how can I make this space more hospitable and like a taste of home for people.
Yeah.
And so I'm always thinking about that. How can, from when you walk through the door to when you leave, how can I make sure your experience is something that marks you?
Yeah.
how can I make sure that even if you're not actively aware that that happens, that in your day, when someone says, "How was your day?" you start feeling it in your bones of that experience that overflowing common cup made my day better.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm always thinking about because you realize it's all in the details. A lot of people don't realize when they've walked in and they've had a good customer experience versus we can immediately tell we've had a bad one. And so it's like those unknown ways that I kind of like held your hand through service, and led you through an experience that you may not even consciously be aware that you just had.
Right.
So that's something that I'm always thinking about. And then another element is roasting. So like I said, I've been roasting for the past maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
Come on,
And
yo.
that has been, I get super nerdy about coffee. I love it. And I mean, getting to see coffee go from, number one, I had no idea that green coffee smelled like straight up vegetables.
It does.
That was bananas.
Smell like raw.
And I'm like, I couldn't believe it. And then even learning how different regions have a different bag that the coffee comes in. So Ethiopian coffee is always going to have these 2 type of colors on it versus a Colombian or a Honduran or whatever.
Hey, yo, you just put me on game. I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I wrote it down.
Come on now.
You can look at pallets of coffee and say, oh, that's green and blue. That must be Ethiopia or whatever. Those are the exact colors. But that's how there's
It's
a
like
whole
green and red, I think.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know if off the top I have it written down.
All we buy is Ethiopian. That gonna always be green and red. I didn't know it was
Yeah.
reason. That's a good point.
Yeah. And so seeing that, I was telling John, roasting and pulling out the dryer and seeing these coffee beans go from this green to this yellow caramely color was wild.
Yeah.
And realizing that as the sugars are starting to caramelize and they go through their whole process, you can literally see the beans change, expand. As they get, they're small when they're green and then they get bigger and bigger as you grow. So that's what I'm really excited about right now because it's giving me a deeper love and passion for all that this little bean goes through to get to us.
Yeah.
And how majority of the world will never get to experience coffee in that way. When you're roasting it, you see it turn from that green to yellowy, brownish, and then it keeps going. So that's the nerdy side of what I'm excited about.
Yes.
I'm excited to legit be a Black woman roasting coffee.
Talk your stuff. Come on now.
Like what we did that with John and I broke up, I roasted that. And that I feel super good about it. And I don't know too many people who can say they know a Black female roaster.
Come on now. I just know Sierra.
Right. Yeah.
I know Sierra and cute coffee. I love cute coffee.
Yeah, and I know they're out there. I'm definitely not. They are out there, and I'm trying to get.
But the fact that we're naming them, Southeastern, like we're I can name most of them. Like that's a problem. Right. It should be innumerable.
Yeah. When I think about Red Bay and out there, I love them. So that's like the nerdy side of it. But the other core, like I said, is the hospitality piece. I always want people to feel at home in the shops they come in and to feel seen. And just make sure that we're creating an atmosphere where people can really thrive and people can really prosper when they come to our shop. So,
I think you just have to be you, Kari. I think if you're you're going to treat people how you want to be treated. It's real simple. Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to make it like that, but
no, it's you're right.
It's simple.
You're right. And I've taken over shops that had terrible reputations.
Yeesh.
And just simple things of saying, hey, when people come in the door, say hello.
Come on now, speak.
People how I want to be treated, like you just said, it makes such an impact. And I also have to realize that John and I came, we have very nurturing families and have always had an abundance of love around us. And you can assume that that's everybody's story. Yeah. And so us trying to, share that experience with people when they walk in the door is deeply impactful. Yeah. When we had to close down our coffee shop right now where we're building out in the South Loop, it was an abundance of people who came in and just said, you guys are the only ones in my entire life who noticed the haircut that I just got. Or, when I had a crutch on my arm or, whatever, that those things in people's lives would come in and, have those conversations. So I don't take that for granted. I think those are deeply significant moments. I'm always thinking about how we can handle those moments with more care and with more tenderness, for sure.
That's so dope. I just want to travel so I can hang out at y'all shops now. Like, if y'all are in Chicago and you're not going to Common Cup Shy and you're not going to Everybody's Busy, you slipping. I'm just letting you know.
And you might get ignored, but you'll get a good cup of coffee.
You gonna catch a whole vibe.
A whole vibe.
Yes. Look, this has been a wonderful night. You know, I want to end it just by saying thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your dedication to the community. Thank you for all that you do, your joy, the hard work that you put in, the years, the sweat is blessing our community. And there's going to be transformation that comes from this, you know. It's powerful. Shout out to We Are Memphis for having us here. Shout out to Section 9 for letting us be in the space. HD, the wonderful Renata Henderson. It's been a beautiful night. We're going to end with some raps and some questions because we did say we were going to do Q&A. And so if you still rocking with us, we're going to rap one time for you. We're going to do a Q&A, and then if we feel like we might kick a couple bars, you know, off the top. So we're about to perform a song called Black Like Me. You may have heard it. You may have not. If you've heard our whole vibe, you know how we rock. You know what I mean?
that was a film too, right?
Oh, word?
Yeah, it was recorded down in the South. We'll talk about that later.
Come on now, put me on game. We're about to do a song called Black Like Me. I have Daniel D. Meyer here rocking with me. Scoot that over just a little bit, Daniel. Yeah. And in order for us to do the performance, there's a couple things you need. Look, when we rap, we do call and response. Now, I know you may not be used to that. You're not here with me today, but Daniel is going to represent you. And so there's just going to be some points when I say coffee, say
black.
Just like
Me.
Don't need no
Sugar.
Don't need no
Cream.
Okay, we're going to try it one more time. If you at home and you rocking with us, we're just going to do it like this. Coffee, stay
Black.
just like
Me.
Don't need no
Sugar.
Don't need no
Milk. Cream.
this dude. Okay. And then at the end, the last refrain of it is black like
Me.
black like
Why? I got you. Black
this
like
dude.
me.
Black like me. Okay, so we're gonna rock that one time for you guys. Enjoy it. And yeah, man, let's get into it. DJ HD. Coffee stay black, just like me. Don't need no sugar, don't need no cream. Coffee stay black, just like me. Sing it with me. Coffee stay black, just like me. Don't need no sugar, don't need no cream. Coffee stay black, just like me. Come on now. Yeah. Black like me. 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 Coffee stay black like me, Melanin pop like gleam from sun. Black like me, like Jesus. Oh my God, I'm seasoned. I thank God they ain't plain. He made me a zany way. It's many colors he painted, but it's mine today that I'm thanking him for. It's so many hues I might have to get two. Double up on that juice. Berries that carry dog magic touched by vibranium. The coffee come from Kemet, limitless like our cranium curls. Babies ain't no maybes. Jesus gave me my favorite notes. Cup in my cup was beauties. They got a lot with the ghost. I got a lot of that heart. I got a lot for the cocoa butter to cover, so I thank them for those. Pumping my hemoglobin. They told me we black like evil. I told them we black like devils and devils. I come from evils and levels. I shook they sniffles. Make sure that they never come back with that. Then I tell them to get a cup of that blackity coffee. Stay black just like me. Don't need no sugar. Don't need no cream. Coffee stay black just like me. Yeah. Coffee stay black just like me. Don't need no sugar. Don't need no cream. Coffee stay black just like me. Yeah, listen. Black like me. 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 Black like they thought they could take it, yeah. They harvesting organs like Whole Foods for the melanated. They snatching babies, yeah.
snatching babies, yeah.
And then we tell our sisters they ain't paper bag enough. That's crazy. I'm telling them black, black like the aroma, black like seed on popo, black like the aromas on them nights we used to pull up. I like seed iomo, my spirit speak many tongues. My people took many blows, but we be like many suns, shining even when they yawn, ironing even when they lying, when they mining all our cobalt and our coffee like our melanin, but we be shining like a rocket when the spirit come inside. He told us unlock all our lockets. We just shine like many hues, rise like cocoa hues. Coffee got many blues, but I stay with the truth, and I come back and choose to be what the maker made me to be, cause I'm creating GC coffee, baby. Black just like me. Don't need no sugar, don't need no cream. Coffee stay black just like me. Black like me. That's that piece. That's that piece. That's that piece. That's that piece. That's Black Like Me, currently streaming everywhere music is available. Black with an X like Malcolm X. You know what it is. If you asking good questions, you're going to ask me what the X is for. Produced by the one, the only, HD3 Beats. Y'all give it up for my man. My man. Dude produced like half the album. This is the coldest producer in the game. Get him while you can. You know what I mean? Get him while you can. So listen. Shout out to Daniel D. Meyer on the vocals. Killing it as per usual. And Omarion, he in the back. What you want credit for, Omar? You in the back chilling? We coming to the end of our night. There are a couple questions, and we might kick a freestyle or two with some topics y'all put in the comments. But listen, this is toward the end, so if you gotta go, appreciate you. Thank you for rocking with us. Make sure you go grab some Gucci Mane coffee. Go grab some Brew Culture apparel. Go support and follow Everybody's Busy Common Cup Shy. Buy something with Omarion's discount code, Omarion Champion. You can shoot him a DM. But we want to take some questions now. So these are coming in via text. Here we go. One question is, how crucial has it been to y'all to be able to connect with other POCs in the industry? How important were those connections early on in a white male-dominated industry to keeping you going? I'm going to put it like this. When we started in coffee, I was pretty much cool with everybody in the city. I just asked questions. Now, in order to be cool with everybody in the city, I had to deal with a lot of BS. So I would come in and code switch. That's a term many of us are familiar with, where you come in and you put on your, hello, how are you doing today? My name is Bartholomew Jones. And that's what I would do originally, to just get the information because I was curious and I had to assimilate to the shop. There were certain individuals early on who did not require that assimilation to partake or to give me that information. And so I shout out Nick Griffin, who was at the first Third Wave shop in Memphis, Latino brother, super dope. Me and him would nerd out about Sump Coffee like back in 2015. And so he was super duper dope. Currently, Martine Mayorga is one of my mentors, and they're, a coffee company that wants to do what we want to do in the Black community, they're doing in the Latino community. And so connecting with him has been important. He actually purchased the Walichu Wachu that if you're at the crib drinking, pass me that bag right there, my G. If you're drinking this was purchased, three sacks, purchased by, they didn't even want me to say that, but they just gave it to us because we were curious and they're like, hey, you the homies. So other PLC have been really important. Black people, the most important thing to me has been the diaspora, like the Black diaspora. And so being able to connect with Ibrahim from Oromo Coffee or Samaya, who's in Rwanda, that's been really, really, or it's DC Hector from, I'm about to lose the name. Don Carvajal, he's Dominican. Their coffee over there. My homie Adarian, from Jave Coffee in Haiti. Like connecting with Black people in the diaspora has been super important to me and to us getting started. There have been a lot of dope white people too. Like my guy M3. He let us cook up in here, like we at the crack house. My guy, the guy who roasts our coffee, Kenny Baker, is the epitome to me of what I would want to see in a white ally. Like, he's been super duper dope. Kenny Baker right there, ladies and gentlemen, from Ethnos Coffee. He about to drop that honey gold coffee on y'all, so definitely go check that out. But that's been super important. For me, it's been people, though, who respected our Blackness, not as something that is superior, but that is a compliment to all the other cultures in the world, that does not need to be diminished or watered down to be appreciated. And so those kinds of allies to me are my favorite kind of people to work with. People who are unapologetically themselves and who understand that we all are a part of God's creation, you know, and we each have unique notes, just like coffee. Why water down the Ethiopian to highlight the Rwandan? Why water down the Kenyan to highlight the Colombian? Like all these coffees are beautiful in their own ways, and they deserve their own spaces, and they deserve to be respected in the cup and in life. So that's me. Imago Dei is how we would say it in the faith, my brother Kenny. Okay, John, Carrie, Melissa, what about you guys? How important was having other PLCs, specifically non-black PLCs, people of color, if you're not familiar with the term, or allies? How important was that for you guys starting out?
I mean, it was because I started doing pour-overs and I was self-taught, and I moved back home to Chicago, and I would visit some of the shops, and you know, it was just kind of nasty. I mean, it was sort of important, but then it was kind of like, you know what, fuck it, let me just do what I do anyway, which is figure it out. And then I got more love on Instagram from people, allies, people of color. But I think it was more just sort of the type of like-mindedness.
Yep.
Similar
values.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so, I mean, it was important. But then after a while, I was like, you know what? I don't care. You either with me or you're not. And if you're not, that's cool.
You either with me or against me, yo.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it matters sometimes, but then sometimes don't get caught up in that because you'll be looking for a long time.
A long time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think for me, another layer to my story is I actually grew up overseas in Scotland.
Woo!
So my whole life I've been around white people.
Yo, do you have a Scottish accent?
So I did, but you talk about code switching. Then I quickly lost that thing when I came over here and was like, people are like, what is?
That's dope.
Yeah, that's my third culture here, like a lot of people here. So I moved back to the States when I was 19 years old. So I spent majority of my life in Scotland, so I've always been in white circles. Even when I came back here and working in the coffee shops, always the only black person on staff. So for me, it never was something that I'm also deeply introverted. So the thought of intentionally seeking out anyone is foreign to me. So I was just kind of doing my own thing, keeping myself, like Melissa said, working in shops, just looking and around me and trying to learn from the people around me and reading books, watching YouTube, whatever. But then actually in recent years, probably the last maybe 4, I've been wanting to be around more Black women in coffee, and especially Black women who are either owning their own shops or doing their own thing, or even baristas. But it's been, in Chicago specifically, it's been very difficult. And people are, like Melissa was saying earlier, we were talking before this, people are kind of so busy where you find a Black woman in a coffee shop. Or I remember I went into this one place and there was a Black barista and I was so excited to talk to her, and she was just kind of like, don't have time. Like, and so it's been discouraging. I would say honestly since COVID hit and all of this change that we've had in the world since like Marches, that's now I'm the most connected to Black people in coffee that I've ever been. And it's been cool. It's been encouraging. It has been a gift, I think, of everything being virtual. But it's not something that I feel dependent on. It is beautiful and it is rich and I do love it. So yeah, that's my answer to that. But
well, I'm sorry, John. Did you want to go too? I was about to comment. I'm an extrovert, so I just be going off when I get hyped. You got it, brother. I'm gonna call I hear my wife in my head saying, "Calm down, calm down."
No, I mean, just for me, my whole connection to coffee has been Carrie, and she's a Black woman. So,
come on now, talk about that.
It's been, my whole intro to coffee has been through her. I literally never drank coffee when we first started dating, and here I am. So
that's beautiful, and I think that speaks to the power of family and the power of relationship. When we talk about community being a value in the new Black, because I'm just trying to imagine, like 20 years in the future, what if coffee was just normal in every Black home and we knew and were educated about the history and the culture? I don't know if that can happen in 20 years, but I am an artist, so I just imagine things, right? And I believe that God got a plan. So I'm like, I just want to imagine. And it helps us to kind of backwards plan for all my teachers, how to get there, if you can imagine what it could look like in the future. And I think getting there is going to require a lot of these interpersonal, intimate connections in the community that don't happen necessarily in a coffee shop. Or if they do happen in a coffee shop, it's happening in someone's coffee shop who is just genuinely a value of theirs. I have a lot of white people ask me, like, what can we do to help the black community or bring more black people into our coffee? And the question, I don't like that question, because to me it centers whiteness, and a lot of the conversations about race center whiteness. The better question is, what can white people do to better integrate into the black thing they're participating in? Like, you're in a black neighborhood. How can you connect more to the neighborhood you're in? Not how can you get the neighborhood in your shop. How can you make your shop actually be in the neighborhood for real, and not just a place that people don't go to? You see what I'm saying? And so I think if you just open your eyes, like, I'm drinking a black product or a brown product, right? How can I connect with these people? Oh, those people over there look just like the people at the origin trip. Let me go actually build with them. Let me build with the black church down the street, the black school, as a member in the community. Oh, you're a business owner? You'll have something valuable to add as you actually get integrated into the community, not as you come as this spaceship that just landed that everybody got to get on board and they're going to get the anal probe. Like, this, don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, actually be engaged in the community. And for us, we found that just being black and being unapologetically black in who we're marketing to, who we're talking to, like the people standing next to me, the people in this room, the neighborhood we're in, the reason why we focus on that is because anybody who joins us is gonna have to participate in a black thing already. And so when we first started, we did a launch actually at Comeback Coffee. Shout out to Comeback. They've been rocking with us for a minute. And we had 50 pounds of coffee, and that was it. And it went to 90% young black creators of color. At the time, my question was, would black people even drink specialty coffee? Like, this junk go for $20. It's not cheap. So would people be interested in this nerdy thing? My community told me with their dollars, hell yeah, we want to be in that. Right? They told me, yes, we want to participate in this. So once that happened, we started saying, oh, now we got to up the supply because the demand is there. But people don't even give our community a chance. Like, you don't even engage with them. People just assume you don't want this because it's white. When in reality, if you present it as a black thing and do the work of just presenting it in a black context, many times people will accept it without thinking twice about it. You know? Whether that context is your black queen presenting it to you, you know what I mean? Like my brother John had, or whether it's your neighbor down the street inviting you over, or whether it's your neighborhood rapper throwing a concert at the coffee shop, or whether it's your local graffiti artist doing like a mural unveiling at like, it has to become a part of our culture if we want it to become indigenous again. You know, if you want it to be black again. So those are the questions.
That's good. I really
dope. Melissa has not Melissa, I'm sorry. I'm getting questions on the phone. Okay, so here we go. Kenny, we are Memphis. Asks, does anyone have more questions? Somebody said, as a white male, other than the obvious supporting. Yeah, please go buy everything these people got. Y'all got stores online? I know Melissa got to have stuff online.
Nope, because you need to come in.
Just go drive. Go drive.
You can go to the
Put your mask on.
Go stop at Melissa's. I mean, everything is amazing. But yeah, Comic Club, if you go on our Instagram or if you go on our website, link to our website is on Instagram, all that kind of stuff, Google, everything you found. We've got merch and retail stuff that you can definitely support. And if you're in the city of Chicago, come on by. Rogers Park neighborhood, we'd love to host you. We'd love to have you. And then when our second shop, when it reopens in a few months, you'll have a spot in South Loop to come and hang out. And that's been the baby I've been working on for a year and a half. So I'm overly overdone, as they say, to get that open and have y'all come in and see that place.
Lit. I'm so hyped to go. Like, I gotta visit y'all again soon. So go buy their stuff. Go to our website. We're a credit-free company, which means we get our money the long way. That means we literally work and flip and re-up like we selling dope or something. Like that's how we get our money. So and we're like 1 month away from clearing 6 figures this year. So y'all have been supporting, but because we don't have credit, Thank you. All our money goes back into operations, so that money don't stick around. You know what I mean? So we really do need you guys to keep purchase for somebody else. You know what I mean? We got buy the album anyway. Buy all the stuff on the website, coffeeblack.com with an X, CXFFEE Black. Somebody said, what can you actually do? And I don't know if I'm being clear, and maybe someone else is a better person to answer this question, but I'm literally telling you, or not you, I'm saying the way to do it is like my man Major's here. He's literally in the community. He lives here. His house is in this community, right? In this predominantly Black and Latino community. He literally spent years building with 8 Ball and MJG local rappers, which when I met him, that gave him cred. He reached out to me and saw me making coffee hip hop and was like, that's dope. You said Ethiopian Gucci in the track. This man actually created the name Gucci Man. We were in this studio rapping. He was sitting over there on the couch and he was, come here, man. He was sitting over there on the couch and we had just went to the coffee shop down the street. It's real hipstery. And we were like, the vibe, there's dissonance, right? Because we making hip hop here. We went to that space, they playing, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou or something like that. Yeah. So like, he was like, yo, what if we made a coffee called Gucci Man? Like, what if we did that, right? It makes sense. And we all just went crazy in the studio.
Yeah, it was like, I was up real late, and for some reason, I had seen a new Gucci Mane track on Hip Hop DX.
Yep.
And he was in the news for some reason about something, and I don't know why, but we had been talking about making coffee and Gucci on the coffee bag, and it's real late at night, and I was like, man, I gotta call Bart and tell him.
So the idea is just,
I was like, yeah, you're in there and like in the zone, and I was like, those two things sound so similar, like and I hit him up at like 1:30 in the morning. I remember DMing you on Instagram like, hit me later, we got to talk about this, and here we are. I knew this would happen for Bart, but I feel like to put my 2 cents in, white folks, support with your money and then stay out of the way. Don't try to talk. Give people a platform. Give people space to talk. Don't stand in front of POC and talk like you're important. Right. Get people's attention and then say, hey man, here's my man Bart. That's my talent, is to give people a platform with the technology, with the design, with all that stuff, and the creativity to get under you and push you up, not get in the way.
And I think to that point, like just recently, there were some white Black Lives Matter protesters. You got a group of literally all white people chanting. The video went viral. They were like chanting "Death to America." Like your average Black family does not want you to go out and tell the whole world on their behalf, "Death to America." Like that's not what we try. We live here. You know what I mean? So like if you actually platform the voice or listen, I think that listening ear can do a lot. But really what I'm just saying is like, this is my guy. Like be in the community when there's nothing for you to gain authentically. And as you as a person of value engage with other people of value, then you will see opportunities for the skills and interests you have to connect with the pre-existing values and skills that are already in the community. Right? But if you start by, here are my values, how can you guys use it? You're going to end up overlooking and oppressing the community, right? So don't with the sugar and cream. Just come in and taste the notes. You know what I mean? And then you can join the cipher once you know what's going on. So good question. Yeesh. Okay, one more question. Here we go. One more question. Somebody came across the screen. What was that question, Majors? We missed it. Plans for future virtual events. So listen, this is the launch. You know what I mean? Cut the music real quick. We are launching the Coffee Black Brew Up subscription. Okay? This is launching it right now. Literally every month we're doing this. Right here. We're cupping with some of our favorite Black people in the industry doing amazing things. Y'all should go follow them again. I'm gonna say that one more time. Go follow my family. You know what I mean? This family right here. Go follow them because there's so much going on. We'll ship you coffee, a new print designed by Brown Girl Lettering, as well as some exclusive coffee when we come across those stickers. We actually have pins right now. This one says "Make Coffee Black Again." So that kind of stuff will be available only in the Brew Up box. This is a monthly thing. If you go on the website right now, you can do a virtual Brew Up subscription and join the process. So this is going to happen every month. Stay tuned on Instagram for more information. Are you all doing any other virtual events? Everybody's busy. Common Cup. How can people continue to follow what you're doing, even if it's not a virtual event? How can people continue to follow what you guys are doing?
Instagram.
Come on now, say it loud.
Instagram.
One more time, sister.
Instagram.
Come on now.
Oh yes, I love it. It's the same for us.
That's it.
You know, like that's the best way right now to support, and you can always keep up with what we're doing. And if there's any other call to action type stuff or other ways of support, if you're there, then you'll see it, and hopefully you'll feel prone to do something about it.
Yeesh. I love it. I love it. Well, you all, I think this is bringing an end to our wonderful night. These are all the questions I have from We Are Memphis, from our VIP ticket holders. If you are a VIP ticket holder and we miss you, you know what I mean? Drop a lot of zeros, not money, but just be like, hey, yo, you missed me. You know what I mean? In the chat so we can make sure we answer your question. But yeah, y'all, we're going to conclude our night here. It's 9:27. I got to get Omarion home by 11 or his mama going to be mad at, or his sister going to be mad at me. So, yeah. Okay, final question. Oh, my gosh, bro. Kenny back. Look, we call Kenny White Boy Kenny because he the plug. You know what I mean? So, my guy over here. Okay, if I could have one last sip of coffee, it would either be an Ethiopian Gucci or a Colombian Microlight, preferably a pink Bourbon. That's my favorite varietal from the Microlight. Also, I'm really digging what's going on with a lot of Afro-Colombian growers. And so there's a farmer named Gelatin in Cauca in Colombia, and we're sampling some of his coffee right now. And the John is like really figgy. Anyway, so, yo, that's what I would drink. I would brew it on AeroPress because these are available for purchase on our website. And it is my favorite way to brew. What was the question? What was the rest of it, bro?
Where? What setting?
Where am I sipping it? I'm sipping it in the studio. What you mean? I'm sipping it while I'm kicking some rhymes with the homies and with my family and with my children. That's what I'm doing. All right. You all? Who wants the next?
I was like, Moses' answer is gonna be short.
Yeah.
I love it.
I haven't met the coffee yet. I don't know. Like, come on.
I feel you. Come on now.
Yeah. That was going to be part of my answer. I was going to say, I don't know that I've had that coffee yet, but from all the coffees I've had right now, honestly, probably the Ethiopian that John and I had tonight.
Come on now.
From work with Cheldessa, I think I'm saying that right. The farm name is throwing me.
Yes.
But that's probably what I would be drinking. Brewing? I mean, my all-time favorite is cortado. I love cortado.
Yes. What kind of milk?
Well,
I'm sorry, I'm a nerd.
No. That's fair. For a long time, like just whole milk. What's that whole milk that we had at the shop? I can't think about it. Kilgis. Whole milk.
That joint slaps. But we said it's like ice cream.
Literally, he just said it the same time as ice cream. But recently, John, we've been doing oat milk.
The lactose intolerant don't play.
Right. Black people, yeah. And I would probably say where? I don't know, somewhere beautiful. I love greenery. I love nature. So honestly, when I first heard that question, I thought about like being in Scotland with my dad, having a cup of coffee, like on some type of hill walk.
Yo, that's so dope.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm just in Scotland, just kicking it. You know what I mean? Yeah, John. What about you, my G?
I think for me, I like Melissa Vanthus. I like all of Melissa Vanthus tonight. I'm a big Melissa fan. I already liked Everybody Busy at the coffee shop, but now I'm like a Melissa fan.
Yes. That will happen. Like, she's so dope. It just be like, that's
this
family
woman
forever.
is amazing, and like a whole vibe. Anyway, seriously. But I haven't had that coffee yet. I'm gonna say her answer because that was really good. I've not had it, and my wife is on the road, so I think I will have it from her eventually. But I think I would just have an AeroPress while out camping.
Gang.
Like in the woods somewhere. Like
AeroPress is very portable too. I'm trying to say y'all.
Absolutely,
it's portable. Everything you need.
AeroPress in the woods.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's a vibe.
That's what I would do. Yeah.
Grind it with a rock and some big sticks. You know what I mean? Like you don't even need. That's a vibe. Okay, y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining. We love you all. We're gonna kick one more freestyle for you guys just to go. So I need a topic in the comments because I said I was gonna do it. We do it every brew up. We always freestyle at the end. I'm tired, but we're gonna rock it for you. Marion, you trying to rap? Wait till the beat. Wait till the beat. Just think about it. Daniel might rap too. Okay.
What?
Drop the beat.
I'm a singer, not a rapper.
Daniel might sing. Yeah. Okay. I need a topic. Hey, what the topic's looking like in the comments, my G? Okay. Ooh. Yeah. Hey. No topics. Yo, no sugar, no cream. I'm living my dream. I'm doing my thing. Run it off for the team. No sugar, no cream. I'm living my dream. We doing our thing. Run it off for the team. Yeah. I just put up with the brew up and our homies doing things you have. I might shoe up when feel so sick I almost threw up. When I run up in the spot, they told the homies throw the 2 up. Yeah, I'm grateful for the places the Lord been putting me in. I'm grateful for the people who been running with my kin. It's more like family when me and the crew collide. It's more like gold when I see it in their eyes. This ain't no situation. This is a new vacation. This is a new vacation. We living in the making. We living in the matrix. They told me what up. I told you that they trying to keep my people out of black love. When we put it in, it put the coffee on like Jonathan. He learned what it is when he hold his wifey's arm. She put the coffee in the cup and had to brew it for him. He said, oh girl, go ahead, that do it for him. You know what it is. Yeah, I'm with the kids. Coffee with the love. Yeah, I'm with the trib. With the E up on the end. So that's a try. Feeling coffee in my cup. Yeah, I feel alive. Get the love. We in the cut. It tastes of love in one cup. Put your coffee up. And put your coffee up.
Yeah, get a taste of love.
That's the love.
All in one cup.
What you got, man? You got something?
What's the topic? Black love. No hood.
Yeah. Yo, this the freestyle in the cypher. Let you know what it is. I'm spitting words with the life in it. I can't speak no death on the track. No, I'm not writing it. Coffee off the dome when I'm kicking it, and you liking it. Yeah, got the notes. Yeah, it's kind of like lightning. When it's striking ground, make it feel enlightening. Yeah, it's feeling bright with it. Last night it was storming. My kids getting way too hype with it. Get in the bed. Big old head. Got that from me though. Yeah, you know what I said. DNA coming real strong with my people sipping Cxffeeblack, so you know you sing the song just like me. Yeah, I'm finna be sipping up on the BREW, so you know we do it like a G. Yeah, that's it. That's all they get. Love you guys. Keep that Cxffeeblack. Go stream the Cxffeeblack album. Go follow Everybody's Busy. Yes. Please go follow the Common Cup Shy, and we will see you guys later. Peace. Stay tuned. Join the subscription. Yeah. Thank you all. Love you guys. Yeah. We out.
Oh.